everybody. Welcome to another edition of Frame Trap, a podcast where we talk about video games and whatever other things fly into our brains. There was some hot wrestling talk right before we hit record.
Shane McMahon injured.
That was going to be my cue up, dude. I was going to do that. You ruined it.
Ruining cue ups. At the end there, can barely contain himself. We've got Michael Huber.
Run!
Right next to him, Bradley Ellis.
Knee to face.
So anime.
I feel like I should understand these things, but I have no idea.
Knee to face is the most anime.
Knee
Wrestling.
to face?
Knee to face.
I mean, is it as exactly as it sounds?
Yes.
I'm your host, Ben Moore. It should be a fun episode today. We're recording this in the evening on Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter. We're spending our Easter with Frame Trap.
Yeah, really cool.
I'm sorry, family.
Yeah, I'm sorry, family. None of my family's out here, so at least I got that to fall back on.
That's okay.
Really
see my
cool
family all the time.
Easter
got cats
costumes
still.
in Fortnite. It's like an Easter bunny with a Jason Voorhees mask.
Can you believe this
Do you
guy?
have that?
It's like $15. And my friend
Do
bought
you
it.
have that?
My friend already bought it before me. So I was like,
It
Nick.
ruins the specialness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick bought it.
Come on, Nick.
Yeah.
Come on, Nick. Speaking of Easter, that's a holiday I never, ever, ever talk about with the Allies. Do you guys celebrate Easter usually? Do you hang out with family, friends?
One of
Is it
my
pretty
favorite
chill?
things of all time growing up was doing the Easter egg hunt at
Yeah.
Big Wheel Park.
Yes.
Big Wheel Park, Ben. This like legendary, mythic park by my house growing up. For whatever reason, rarely found myself in Big Wheel Park. You know, when you're really young, your like home base is such a small square footage.
Yeah.
But every Easter they would have a Easter egg hunt there, and this park was just like it's a small park, but they have a road, like a track where you could rent out and like bike on little bike tricycle things. And there were like tunnels and little caves, and little like a jungle gym, and they would hide Easter eggs all throughout there.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
I'd love to do an Easter egg hunt with the Allies
Me too.
Love Easter egg
Tournament
hunts.
night.
because you would have all the personalities coming through. Like, I think you would be really excited about it. I think Brad would be
Yeah.
into it. I think Blood would do really well. And then, like, of course, Damiani and Kyle would fight each other. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Set up traps.
set up actual dead
Yeah.
as a bear trap. Like, oh, gotcha. It's funny that you bring up the Easter egg hunt because there are several things in my childhood that were there when I was extremely young, like 3 or 4. But by the time I was old enough to actually go and appreciate them, like when I was extremely young, I had like arcades in my town.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to be like 8, 9, 10, there were no arcades anymore. And like all of the cool games that I used to love were gone. And that was kind of a bummer. But
But at least you got to experience arcades.
I did, yeah.
Cherish that.
Yeah.
Cherish it.
We had some pretty good arcades around here.
Oh,
We
yeah.
were.
Yep.
So we got lucky on that front.
I mean, you still have good arcades here out in California.
Yeah.
I go to
Yeah,
I was at round 1 last weekend. And had a good time.
cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Played some stuff. They have this big Pac-Man versus that you can play. We did that with 4 people. It
That's
was
sick.
fun. Yeah.
Love Pac-Man.
The last Easter question that I have before we get rolling into our list of games.
Rolling.
How do you feel about Cadbury cream eggs?
Love them.
Do you?
But only around this time. You
Okay.
know?
I feel that way about eggnog and Christmas.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a
Once a year.
seasonal treat, you know. You
Yeah.
won't find me in the dead of summer sucking on some Cadbury egg, you know. So, yeah, just for Easter.
See, I've gone up and down. I had them so much. It was like almost this unspoken family tradition. Like there were always Cadbury cream eggs around Easter time. And I would eat them. I'd be like, man, this is too much. This is too much thick liquid in my mouth at the moment. I can't handle it.
Yep.
But I haven't had a Cadbury cream egg in years. It's probably been
Oh, you got to go back.
like 5 years. Since I've had
I'll
a
try to
Cadbury
bring some to
cream.
the group stream.
Brings me to the group stream?
Yeah.
Try it live.
Yeah.
Are there are different flavors
It's like
now
chocolate
too,
ones
right?
now and caramel.
I just want the OG.
think.
I just want to
classic.
see how the OG holds
OG,
up.
yeah.
We got some games to talk about. This sometimes I'm editing a frame trap or I'm doing timestamps or whatever. I'm like, man, there's so many timestamps. We talked about a lot of games. I think this is going to be one of those frame traps where We don't have a lot of games, but the games that we're talking about, we got some things to say.
Some heavy hitters.
Yeah, we have some heavy hitters. The first one I want to open up with, just because I'm curious and haven't been able to play that much, is Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah.
Brad, you are speaking with a lot of enthusiasm about Ni no Kuni 2. It's a game you've been looking forward to.
Yeah.
And it's a game that you are getting near the end of based on our pre-podcast conversations. How you feeling? Tell me about it.
Good. Feeling real good about it. I don't have a lot of experience with the original Ni no Kuni. I never finished it, so I don't know. But Ni no Kuni definitely has like a special kind of vibe to it, especially with like the Ghibli art style. Yeah, it reminds me of like a PS1-esque RPG in our modern era, especially because of how the world map is laid out. And it's kind of like my impressions of what Suikoden is, kind of like having your town and building it up. And it kind of reminds me of like, I've been playing this game and I'm remembering Dark Cloud a lot when playing this game, especially Dark Cloud 1, because I played that one the most. Just like a brief vibes of even like running and how the character runs and the camera angle. It reminds me of Dark Cloud a lot.
So it's hitting a lot of
like nostalgia, familiar marks for me.
Places. Yeah.
But I think the story is it's not like crazy like whoa, the story's nuts, but it's like solid. It gives you motivation to continue your adventure. There's some twisted turns that you kind of expect from there, but yeah, I feel it's strong enough and engaging enough to want to keep going.
Yeah, I've got a couple of questions based on that description. My first question is, I've seen people compare it to Suikoden, and I'm going through Suikoden right now on stream.
Yes.
And when I was at the preview event, I was at the introduction of the town building, and it seemed really cool. It seemed like you could go a lot of different directions with your town. It seemed like so many of the side quests were about recruiting more people
that's like what most
to make your town bigger and better.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things in the preview phase where I was thinking, this has a lot of potential. Is it keeping your attention so far into the game?
Right
is
now,
it meaningful?
Right now at home, I'm collecting gold for my town. I'm leaving it on and just racking up cash.
I wish you could earn money when the thing is off. Like it's archaic.
It's very
and annoying that you have to leave your system.
It's very much like Bravely Default. Do you remember that kind of building thing like that? It reminds me of that a lot.
Yeah.
How you like do stuff. So I like the town building system, but I kind of wish there's a few other things. Like I wish, so when you build your town in this game, you have all the shops, all that good stuff. But I really wish you could design the town in the layout you wanted. For example, like everything goes in a certain spot no matter what, and you don't have a choice of how you want it to look. I kind of wish there's a little more flexibility with how you build the town, but it's all about kind of like building your town, leveling your town up, getting new citizens.
So by investing all of these resources, what are you getting out of your town?
So for example, you could like, there's a weapon shop that you could do to build better weapons, and there's like certain tiers you do research in to unlock new tiers of like better weapons and stuff like that. There's also like shops like, hey, you build this thing, you do research. That like, research is like kind of like to get new abilities from your town.
Yeah.
There's like ones, hey, you'll get more XP now. Hey, this will help you in your little battle thing like that. You'll get like you unlocked like a music guide where you can go listen to the music of the game, all the soundtrack, all the songs and stuff like that. Just little things like here and there.
There was one where you can like walk faster in the open world.
Yeah, you can like you get the series. You can walk a little faster.
Yeah.
You can get something like, hey, you'll get a boat in the game. Like, it's not whatever. Your boat might sail a little faster. Stuff like that.
Sure. Small things that add up to a lot is what it sounds like.
Yeah. There's like shops where you can get like items every now and then.
So you are. Right now, at Bradley Ellis's home, you are collecting money. Does that mean that the economy is demanding enough that you need a lot of money in order to upgrade things?
I think you don't have to for a lot of I think there is a point in the game where you need something at a certain rank. I'm not there yet, but that's what I've been told. So I think there's like somewhat of a gate there, but I've been doing it just because I'm having fun doing it.
I see. You like to see the numbers go.
Yeah, I'm like watching the numbers go, watching my town look awesome, just looking at everyone doing stuff.
I really wish you could earn money when it was turned off. Because there's a cap. Like, you can increase the cap of how much you can earn.
If you're just playing through the game, you'll get enough probably so you won't be hampered, like stunned for, or if you hindered from it as so much. Yeah.
If you're like stuck or something,
but
then
I'm
you
just
can
like
leave it on.
Going for like just maxing out my whole town right now because I'm having fun doing it.
So Huber, you've gone on record multiple times saying how much you value player customization, player housing, and economy, specifically in RPGs. How are you? Is that itch being scratched in Ni no Kuni 2?
It is. I have all the buildings I can.
Yeah, you're not that far yet.
Up until like I've maxed everything out up until I need the level 2 kingdom. I'm at level 1 still. I'm like 15 hours in or so, 10 hours in maybe. Like chapter 5. I love it. I wish I couldn't exploit it by keeping the system on, because just like there's these caps of how much money you can make in an hour. So it's like, okay, well, after a couple hours, I'll make this much. If the system was off, I wouldn't worry about it and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to make that much. Next time I hop on, I'll have that exact amount ready to go. Now it's this weird time where it's like, oh, well, I don't have really time to play any games right now, but, you know, I'm going to get dinner in like an hour. Maybe I'll just leave my Ni no Kuni on. Right. So it seems really like like you can exploit it. And it's just weird.
It feels very mobile, like in that design, kind of thing like that. But I haven't been to a part yet where I'm like, God, this sucks. This is annoying for me, because I'm like, I am doing it every now and then.
And it's all bonus.
It's a bonus for me. Like what I'm doing is a bonus. It's not necessary that I've run into yet.
Not only is it not necessary, but it's not impeding you from having fun in the more
correct
and the other more basic
and like
aspects
Ni no
of the
Kuni
game.
is a much larger game than just that aspect of it.
Sure,
exactly.
You talked about producing weapons in your kingdom, and it seems like you get a lot of weapons in Ni no Kuni 2. You're switching between them because
I feel like you get a lot more at the near the beginning parts of the game, then it really slows down.
Do you feel like the stuff that you're making, you're excited about and is powerful in terms of weapons?
Kind of. I haven't like made anything where I'm like, oh, dude, yeah.
Okay.
Because like I still have things to get unlock, I guess, like that. I feel like most of that satisfaction would come from like end game, post game stuff. Because I think there's like somewhat post game maybe. So like you're looking for like the crazy weapons to fight like a really intense boss or something like that.
Right. The big complaint that I've seen circling the internet is that Ni no Kuni 2 is far too easy. Yeah. So easy that it is detracting from your enjoyment.
I will say the difficulty does kick up at a certain point where I was like, so like enemies are divided up, like if they're like normal level, they're gray. Then if they're higher level than you, they're like orange, and they go to red. I was going to like a spot in the story where I went to an area and there's a huge level jump. Where I was like, whoa, why are all these guys so high level right now?
Right.
Where it was like a little tougher, yeah. But it's not like, I mean, this game's not like super tough. But I haven't been like, oh, this game's too easy for me right now. Like, I'm not having fun. Like, I'm still having fun doing it, though.
Sure.
I think it's a little too easy for me so far, really. Just, you know.
Yeah, you're not at that point yet.
Like, balance is such a crazy thing in video games, and finding that perfect balance is so hard. That's why I always come back to Dragon Quest VIII, because every single fight throughout the entire game is tough. You can be fighting trash in the woods, and if you get a couple bad rolls with the RNG or like, you know, they call for reinforcements or like it's always, you're always one step away in Dragon Quest VIII from things going terribly wrong.
And it doesn't build up to that. It's not like this long gestation period where it's like, okay, now we're taking the kitty gloves off.
Yeah.
Immediately in Dragon Quest VIII, that first cave that you go into, if you're not prepared, you can be.
So again, I'm early, but I'm just mowing through.
It's super
enemies.
super easy early game.
But as I've gotten older, and as we've had so many great games, and it's just constantly there's 100 great games you can play at any given moment. Easy games don't bother me as much as they did when I was younger. You know, I am totally fine and cool with being overpowered in a game, going through having a good time.
Right.
But to be fair, you know, when they nail that balance and it is perfect and you do kind of struggle to get through, it is more meaningful for me, and I do get more out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the difficulty was reaction to Ni no Kuni 1, how people were complaining it was too hard. Like I remember that a lot when that game came out.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played through Ni no Kuni 1
hard.
since it came out, but I don't remember. I remember there being a couple of spikes in here or there, but I don't remember it being crazy tough.
The end game was, or then like near the end of the game was really hard.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't Dragon Quest VIII where you fight Dolmagus and it's insanely hard out of nowhere.
With Ni no Kuni 2, a question that I have is, do you think a lot of these complaints about it being too easy are coming from the fact that the combat system isn't interesting enough? That there's not enough?
I think the combat system's interesting enough. I think it's good enough.
What do you think makes it good?
I think the game gives you like a lot of freedom, especially in like your movement. So the game is instead of like familiars like how there was in the first game, it's like you're playing as the characters now. You're moving around through the map. You're able to dodge. It's much more action RPG, which I like. You kind of have like your skill menu. You can hold up and you got like skills and you can change them out, everything like that. It's simple, but it's not overly complicated where I'm just like really having to focus. Like I remember when I was playing Xenoblade 2 and I would get a tutorial for like a move. I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, what is this? Like I had to take time to figure out how to do something in Xenoblade 2. When I'm playing this, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense. For now, it's just kind of like, hey, man, you dodge out of the way. Like all the bosses have like mechanics. You can move out of the way. It's hard to take. Or if you're, let's say if you pay attention enough, you can avoid a lot of the danger instead of just like a wall of death you can't do anything about. Like for instance, there's a guy who's shooting fireballs at me, in like weird like Super Mario Brother lines where I was kind of like dodging or something like that. Just adding a little more action and player control to an encounter, I would say.
Yeah, a big reason why I have not gotten farther into it than I would like to is because my girlfriend and I are playing it together, and this will be the first RPG that we're kind of committed to only progressing together with each other, and I'm curious to see if she'll like it.
Sure.
And the reason why we picked this one is I remember when I was at the preview event, and I saw Goldpaw, and I don't want to ruin it for people, but it's this city of gambling, and every aspect of the city is informed by gambling, and the way that they calculate your debt with these birds and everything that was going on, it was just really
magical.
Like it was magical. It was the kind of magic that you want in an RPG, where you go to a place that can only exist in this fantastical realm, and you just kind of get swept up in something fantastical. And I remember really just my pants were charmed off when I first saw that. And hearing that the combat is too easy, I think that is absolutely a valid complaint.
Sure.
I think it's a little bit ridiculous that more of that game isn't voice acted. I think that is really bizarre, especially for something like this, with this level of production, where I think the voice acting in a lot of instances would add a lot. I'm never a huge fan of I'm going to say one word, but then you have to read the rest.
Text, yeah.
And so from a presentation level, I think things could be better as well. But as long as I'm going to these places, I'm meeting these characters that really feel like they have this whole fantastical system that's kind of governing them, that's interesting to dig into and be a part of, I think I'm going to enjoy it. But I don't know if, maybe it was just a vertical slice that I got and the other areas you go to aren't that interesting, or, the characters are bland, or how do you feel from a character development and location perspective with Ni no Kuni 2?
I think the locations are definitely varied and pretty interesting locations you're going to go to. I was looking forward to going to new areas to see what it was like, kind of thing like that. The other characters you get are okay. I'm not like blown away by their stories or anything like that. They're just like, all right, yeah, whatever.
I know. I'm surprised I'm not super obsessed with Batu. He's like the big,
it's like
gruff, guy, and I'm just like,
Do you feel like you're not obsessed with Batu because the game doesn't do very much with him?
They don't really do so much with them. I feel like, like Roland gets more time. I feel like,
sure,
like Batu so far. Again, I'm only like 10 hours in, but he just feels kind of like a guest rather than like a party member. So
yeah. Do you think that's because they're focusing so much on Evan and Roland?
It's their story,
their relationship.
Sure. Yeah.
But do you think the question is do you think the relationship between those two characters is strong enough that it's okay to let the other people kind of be in the background?
I don't know if it's okay to necessarily let the other people go in the background. I think the game attempts to give them like an arc, I would say, for every like location you go to, kind of whenever you meet them, some sort of story where you're there with them. But they kind of like do stuff every now and then, but they definitely feel like they're less important than Evan and Roland.
Sure.
So yeah, the game focuses on those two specifically way more than the others.
Hubert, this was a game that before it came out, we were calling stores early to see if they had copies. You were really excited about. You just couldn't wait to get your hands on it.
I want to play right now.
Do you think it's lived up to that level of hype for you?
Yeah, 100%.
It has.
I love this game. It, like you were saying, just being on a journey and like having your pants charmed off,
Right.
Like the style of this game is unlike any other game. You know, Ni no Kuni, the Studio Ghibli vibe, has its own thing.
Right.
And it's just a world I want to be in. It's an adventure I want to go on. And it's got towns, it's got economies, it's got some Naruto-style villain. So it has lived up to the hype, and I want to keep going badly.
Yeah.
I want to play right now.
Yeah, there are definitely moments where, as a person who talks about and writes about games, where I get so frustrated because, you know, you have this limited vocabulary with which to describe why something is special. And I think about Ni no Kuni II, and I'm like, well, it's got charm and it's got warmth, but those words, those buzzwords, only go so far to describe like why you want to be a part of it. I think it is so hard to make a digital space that you want to keep returning to, you know, for more than a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And it's like because the Higgledies are cute in this specific way, and they're being taken. You meet them, and you meet the old lady who's looking after him in this very cozy house. It's just those combinations of things make it so, like, yes, at the end you just go, it's cute, but there's so much work that goes into
Yeah,
that.
it has so many of my favorite things of all time, and you know, the main thing is like talking to people, hearing their stories, helping them out, and then having them join your kingdom. And I could do that forever. You know, if the game was like, that's a big part of the game. But if that was the only thing you did in the game, I would be on board. I love it. Just finding these people that are like trying to be artists or trying to prove themselves to their fathers, or just all these little sub stories you get involved in. They have so much heart, and it's easy to get latched onto.
There was some excitement before the game came out about, oh, look at the way that it's using this overworld with this chibi style. Do you think the overworld in between the sections is interesting? Do you enjoy running?
There's a lot to
across it?
explore.
Yeah, it's quite large. It's if you like those old school RPGs, like the old Final Fantasies like that, where you have an overworld to explore, kind of like the towns look really small. It's exactly like that, but there's definitely like little areas here and there that are hidden. There's treasures you can collect throughout the world. There's definitely areas of the map I haven't been to yet. The story hasn't taken me there yet, and I feel like I'm kind of at the end. So I feel like if you do the side quest kind of things, it gives you a little something extra.
We haven't talked about the military fights, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I really like those. There are spots on the world map, little flags that you can access, and you get in battles with other armies, and it's like your kingdom versus theirs, and you have like little squads that you can rotate around Evan. Evan is in the middle, and you have little squads that you can rotate with the trigger buttons, and there's like swordsmen and hammerers and archers and whatever, you know, magicians and whatever it may be. And then that folds back into the town. You know, you can level those up through the town, like your barracks or whatever.
Yeah, you can recruit new people from doing quests to help you in your army. They have like different stuff like that. You have like special moves you could do throughout combat to help you in these encounters too.
And those are all really fun. And a lot of them are optional too, which I love. I love I love really, really challenging optional stuff.
Most of them seemed optional right
There's
now.
like tempered monsters that you can fight throughout. So that are like way stronger. They're like protected in this like weird barrier, and you like go up to them, and like even one that was the same level as me, it was like insanely hard.
You kind of just made me wish that you encountered tempered monsters from monsters. Like, oh, this is a Baroth. Let's go fight him, Evan. A question about the skirmishes, these RTS elements. When I was at the preview event, I got to do one of them, and I was like, wow, you know, it's not too often that you would have something like this.
Yeah.
It seems like a cool idea, but I was worried, you know, because you auto attack, and yes, you do have special moves that you can do, but do you feel like you have to actually be strategic?
Yeah.
That it's not just like, okay, I'm sleeping through these.
I did one that was like a little higher than me. It was like level 9. I was level like 6 or 7 or something. And I died one time, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm doing something wrong. And it's like you have to be engaged enough to like do your matchups, you know, like, oh, there's archers over there, let's charge them with the swordsmen, or like, yo, there's spear people there, like let's get the hammers in there. So you have to be aware, you know, you can't just like autopilot through unless you're obviously like higher level, and then you can autopilot through everything.
Yeah.
So
Are you enjoying Ni no Kuni II enough that when you wrap up with the story, you're going to dig into post-game stuff and go after...
I would like to see some of it. I don't know how long realistically I would hang around because it seems like there's a lot of stuff to do in this game.
Sure.
And at a point, I kind of have to move on.
Yeah.
I just got to see how long it takes.
This is the year of me just sticking with games. So I'm at 100%.
You're sticking with games.
I'm
yeah.
sticking with games this year.
Did you say you're gonna 100% it?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Not like platinum trophy, but
I
I
see.
want to do all of the high-end monsters and the optional quests.
That's like
Great.
the platinum trophy. Then it seems like
cool. So I want to do all that
Yeah.
stuff.
I just want to try to finish as many.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah. If you crit path it, it's pretty like reasonable length. I think.
Yeah.
Damiani said it's like 30 hours or something.
And I mean, the other thing is, going through with the partner, you don't want to like
Correct.
have fun at their expense.
Right. So
You don't want to do that. The next game is what I've been playing on my own, and I'm surprised at how much it's grabbed me. I do have some complaints, but Huber, you've been playing it as well,
Yeah,
and that
I
is
really
Far
like it.
Cry 5. Yeah.
Yo, that pause menu music, so good.
The music in Far Cry 5 is
Yeah.
unexpectedly like pretty great.
Like I have put the game on pause as I've done chores around the house because I just like it so
yeah.
much.
Yep.
So good.
Yeah. There's kind of this divide though between like Far Cry 5 is kind of all over the place tonally, which is what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But that happens even with that pause menu music where you just need to take a break. Maybe you're going up to get a drink or you're going to the bathroom or something and you hit pause and you come back and you sit down and you kind of get into the groove of the song and then you unpause and they're like, time to die! And you got like 2 trucks on you and you got a bear chasing after you. It is chaos in my experience. Is that what you've been experiencing, Michael Huber?
So chaotic. One of the most chaotic games. The most chaotic game I think I've played in recent memory is Middle-earth: Shadow of War, where it's like it has that same the vibe and the feeling of like you are constantly in danger. There is like there are very few safe spaces. You can like in Shadow of War and stuff, you can like climb to the top of a tower, or like in Far Cry, you can like go in a little like safe base or something, or like a little safe hideout or underneath a cave. But like people are on you, bears are on you, cougars and coyotes are on you. Like it is nonstop chaos.
I have a question.
That's just if you're like walking around, let alone you're engaging them.
Is it more chaotic than the other ones?
I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it is for sure. Like I can
Far Cry has
catch my breath in the other ones.
I did not play a lot of Far Cry 4, and so that's why I'm like really pausing. But I'm thinking back to like Far Cry 3, and even something like Blood Dragon. I don't, because the way that Far Cry 5 works is you've got these 3 different regions, and everything you do, you're building up resistance points to eventually take on the people that are controlling these regions. And as you build up resistance points, they get more aggressive at trying to take you down. And so anywhere you go at a certain point, there will just be guys coming in on ATVs, on trucks, there'll be I was getting close to liberating the first region.
Nice.
And there was a plane that it didn't matter where I fast traveled, didn't matter where I ran. I was like, got eyes on him. Just wherever you're going, I'm like, all right, gonna bomb him. Like everywhere I went, the second that the load would be done from the fast travel, the plane would be on me, and there'd be guys chasing after me. So
awesome.
Yeah,
dude, the game is awesome. It's so like the less I take the game seriously, the more fun I have with it. It's just such
Absolutely.
a video game in the sense of like, I'm going to hop into this war zone, get a bunch of weapons, and just start shooting everyone around me.
Yep.
Get flamethrowers and rocket launchers.
Does the game attempt to like tell a serious story? Because
it does.
usually they always
we're gonna
do,
get there.
and I like never care ever in Far Cry.
It gets
I think the thing that is so annoying is how intrusive the story is. But I do want to comment really quick on exactly what you're talking about, Huber. And I think why I like it so much is a good amount of the time it feels pretty organic, that chaos and that video gaminess.
Coming up to a silo or something,
right, Right, where it's like, okay, here's kind of like my battlefield. We're in this field, there are a bunch of trees around. I'm focusing on these guys. Okay, a Molotov gets thrown. Now I've got to deal with this fire. Okay, then the wildlife comes in. And it's just, you never know exactly what you're going to have to deal with. And I think that's part of the reason it's so much fun.
Yeah, and I think the setting plays into that huge of just
Right.
like kind of creeping through the trees, like really stealthing up to locations feels awesome. Like
Yep.
even early in the game when you're getting chased through the woods,
Yep.
that was such a powerful scene for me because it was like there was no waypoints or mini map. It was like run, and it was like where do I go? Where do I go? Got to find a little cabin, find a gun. Like really cool moments like that.
Yeah, and I think the buddy system in Far Cry 5 contributes a lot to that too. You bringing a bear into a fight is going to affect how that fight plays out. Or even just when somebody goes down, that's a new thing that you've got to deal with, and that's really cool, and I like how different so many of the companions feel so far. I do find that the humans are a little dumb. Like, a lot of times I'll bring in like a fighter or a human specialist, and I'll be like, okay, attack that dude, and they'll just kind of run around and not do the thing that I told them to.
Well, I've had like the extreme situations where like if you don't tell them to do anything, they won't do anything. They'll just kind of like stand around and do nothing. But then I had a couple parts where I was like, kill that guy, kill that guy, kill that guy, kill that guy, and my companion was just zipping through the battlefield as I was standing on a hill, and he was killing every single person. So it was like they're either too strong or they might as well not even show up.
Yeah, and I was using Boomer, the dog, for a while, and that was interesting because he was useful, but he was also pretty fragile. I couldn't just send him into the fray and expect him to clean up, and I liked dealing with that, but then I have Cheeseburger, this bear, and it's like, this guy can take on a whole army, it feels like. Yeah, he would go down, but it would take quite a bit, it felt like, to get him there. But Brad, you mentioned the story, and I want to talk about this, and I want to ask you how this sounds. So in Far Cry 5, there will be moments, like let's say you're like, I'm going to go do this side mission, okay?
Okay.
You get drugged.
Again?
You get taken to a room. You have them monologue at you, and whatever it was you were doing, you get pulled out of the story just so you can do this story. So you're like, okay, they're trying to surprise me. Cool. I think you can get away with that, like, once.
Yeah.
They
That's
do it
annoying.
again.
Oh.
It's
Oof.
it's a little bit upsetting.
How many times are we talking?
It's just too much. It's
I
too
think
much.
I think outside of the intro, it's happened to me 2 different times.
Outside of the intro?
Outside of the intro,
So
and
at
it's
least
like,
3
and you
times
have
in
no
this
idea
game.
that it's coming. Where it's like, I was just walking along, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, they're drugging me,
But
and then I
it's
got to
like-
go through this.
You only get a few of those.
Well-
and when you do something that much, it just takes away the effect that you had before. You're like, again?
I think what is so upsetting, and I kind of sympathize with them, is you have this game where you have all these systems that lead to this really fun chaos, but it's like, okay, we want to tell this story, but it feels like anytime they're trying to tell the story, everything else comes grinding to a halt. Like,
Yeah.
I wish there was just a more organic way for you to
Exactly.
interact with these villains, other than
Exactly.
just like, no, we're actually going to tie you to this chair and, you know, spout our ideology at you.
I feel like it's been like that since 3. Kind of like all the villains are kind of like that. Like, oh, we're all crazy and
Well, and it's just
Right.
finding those gameplay moments where it's like, okay, here's the part where we're gonna monologue at you. It's
Right.
Ben, you nailed it. It's like we need to find different ways to emotionally connect you to the villains without it being so obvious and so grinding to the game. Like it does. It just grinds it to a halt, and it feels so artificial because they're just monologuing at you, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, now my partner's gonna come up and shoot the guards in the head because the villain turned his back and is like, take care of him. You know,
Right.
all these really silly moments that just take me out of it.
And it's when you have like these story sections, when you get dumped back out into the world, it's not like it feels all that different. It's just like, no, you just kind of paused me from the fun. It's like
Yeah.
you got this really sweet deal to go to Disneyland or Disney World or whatever, but it's like, in order for you to enjoy this, you have to go to this 3-hour timeshare meeting. That's kind of what it feels like in Far Cry 5.
I was thinking that in my brain.
Yeah, where
South Park.
it's not that you don't want to be invested in the story, but I find myself unable to, because it's like, you clearly label the fun parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like you gotta blend a little bit.
Blend
You gotta find a way to make the part where this guy is talking to me just as interesting.
Yeah.
And the way that you've decided to do that is to go full brakes on the fun, and I just don't think that is the right approach.
Because like the setting and the basic framing I'm into, one of my favorite shows of all time is Justified, and it's about a U.S. Marshal. And it's a similar kind of setup. It's not as religious, say, as Far Cry 5, but it's kind of a similar setting. And then I started watching Wild Wild Country on Netflix. Just came out, and it's about a cult. It's a true story. It's a documentary. It's a 6-episode thing, and just it's giving me Far Cry vibes, you know. And I enjoy the setting, but it's just the presentation and the way they go about telling the story.
Yeah.
It could be better, It could just be better. And I think of like Watch Dogs 2 from Ubisoft, and that's my favorite story, I think, from Ubisoft. Just the characters, the way the story is told, it feels a little more organic. It doesn't feel as force-fed or as kind of like, we're stopping the game so we can tell you the story now. It just kind of happens as you go. And I think Far Cry could have leaned more on that.
So my question to both of you is, we're criticizing the differences in tone and the stopping to get the story bits in. Mm-hmm. We will sit here and praise all day something like Metal Gear Solid, which is notorious for this, or even, arguably something like The Last of Us. What do you think makes Far Cry 5 a different case, where it's annoying us rather than enhancing our enjoyment of the game?
Well, The Last of Us and Uncharted, they tell you the story as you go. I think of Half-Life, where we're not going to have a cutscene. We're going to tell you the story as we go. Those games have cutscenes, of course, but so much is happening in between those bits. You can be going over and crafting something or picking an item up, and Ellie or Elena or Sully or something is telling you about the history of the world by talking about a skeleton that's dead in the corner or something. So just having a lot more moments where it doesn't take...
It feels more integrated.
Yeah, and it doesn't take control away from you. And also, like, cutscenes are fine, of course, but it's finding that balance, and I think that's why I love Last of Us so much, is because it's that perfect balance of being in control, getting a lot of story, and then when we do want to have a big, big moment, we're going to have that cutscene, but it never feels out of place, It's not like, hey, stop everything, we're going to give you a cutscene, It feels like a reward in Last of Us, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't played this game yet, so I don't necessarily know. But when I'm playing like Metal Gear Solid that has cutscenes, like lots spots where they're stopping and talking between the characters, I enjoy it more because I care about the situation they're in way more than the characters. I don't know what the characters are like in Far Cry, but
you didn't start caring. They had to convince you to care about them.
Exactly, like when you played Metal Gear Solid 1, like I did for the first time, I didn't know, I'm like, who the hell are all these people? I don't know who are there, but I learned to care about them as the story went on. From what I've played of Far Cry 3 and 4, I just didn't care the entire time.
Right.
Voiceless protagonist.
So like when you have like the moment between like Sniper Wolf and Snake in Solid, you're like, whoa, this is really awesome and stuff like that. You're feeling the emotion. But in Far Cry, I mean, it's kind of unfair to compare people to Kojima, but it's just like, I don't necessarily feel this with them. I feel like we're giving like Far Cry a really hard time because we're like, Kojima's this very special like case of a game, but like.
Well, see, for me, it's about getting the whatever you're consuming, right? It doesn't matter if it's a video game, whatever entertainment thing you're trying to consume, you slowly get conditioned to be like, okay, this is what this is about. This is the angle at which I'm appreciating it. And for me, with Far Cry 5, it's like, okay, I just did this side mission where I have to get these bull testicles, and I just did this challenge where beforehand they had this bald eagle like exploding in flames, and like it just seems kind of goofy and fun and awesome. And so it's like, okay, you kind of get in that mood where you're just like, I just want to have fun. I want to laugh. I want to try crazy things. And you get in that moment where it's like, I'm kind of feeling a little bit experimental. This game is telling me that, like, hey, it's a playground. Go have fun. Go
use your flamethrower.
Right. Use your flamethrower. See what happens. I think when you kind of cultivate that environment, you have to be extra careful when you take all of that away and be like, listen, man, the world is messed up, and I'm going to tell you why it's messed up, and I'm so bad. Like, you can't switch that fast. If you're in that mode of I want to have a lot of fun, there has to be like some sort of transition, some build up to the we're going to pump on the brakes and get serious now. And I just don't feel like those transitions are very smooth. Yeah. And so I just kind of end up zoning out as they're happening.
Totally. And it's hard to follow. Like, I stress so hard about stories in video games. Like, I am trying to get every single detail. I'm trying to get every single character. I'm trying to get dates. Like, no matter what game it is. If it's Kojima all the way down to no story at all, I'm trying to get it all in my brain.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just hard to follow. Like when one of the brothers like kidnaps you and drugs you, I'm just like, wait, what is going on? Like, maybe there's some context to that about drug use. I don't know, but it's
just Far Cry.
It just feels kind of disjointed.
Yeah, it does. And
I think it's because of the open world too.
Right.
Getting that balance of like, let's go and be free and do all of your activities, but we still have this main story. You know, people criticize The Witcher. They always joke around and be like, hey, want to play a game of Gwent.
Right.
You know, it's an open world thing of like trying to get that flow.
It feels like when you're making a game, some things are worth the sacrifices of being disjointed. And I do appreciate in Far Cry 5 where it's like, I want this companion. Okay, I'm not arbitrarily blocked off for all of these reasons. I can just go and get that dude. It doesn't matter that, you know, this companion isn't in the region that I'm dealing with right now. I can just go there and do that. And so I like that freeform nature. And the other thing that I like is actually feeling that escalation in the world where when you do build up that resistance, things do get more intense. They get more chaotic. And then when you resolve it, when you liberate it, it's like, I can actually go fish now. Like, people aren't chasing after me. I feel a notable in-world difference based on my actions. And I really like that a lot.
Yeah. And maybe having a few less companions. There's 9 of them, and I know that you can have a lot.
There's 9 specialists.
9 specialists.
And then there's a whole bunch of fighters.
Whoa. Yeah. So it's like maybe a few less specialists. Like, I get the gameplay opportunities of being able to have different builds and stuff, but if you only have 3 or 4, I'm going to care a lot more about these 3 or 4. Like, I got Boomer, and he's cool. He's a cute little dog, but he still feels like an AI dog to me, you know? And I never have those thoughts of like, I'm playing a video game now. My whole mission is always to be as like, I am getting on board the developer's train and I'm going to be in the mindset that they want me to be in. And, you know, I still with Boomer am like, oh, it's my little AI companion because there isn't that connection. I don't know, maybe if they had just a few less specialists, you could really flesh out the
Make
stories.
those stories longer, more meaningful, more
exactly.
involved.
Maybe have more steps to them rather than like go to this place, kill a bunch of dudes and get the specialist. Maybe have a build up to earning their trust even or kind of recruiting them over or something like that. Just
something that obviously very different types of games, but something I really loved and a storytelling approach that I like to see more in Divinity Original Sin 2 is your companions. They would all have their own individual stories that you could kind of like explicitly chase after. But as you naturally encountered things in the world that dealt with them and their own personal issues, they would become more involved. And that was
great.
true
so great
all the way through to the end of the game. Like the very end of the game, they're like, hey, this affects me. Here's why. And I love that. I love the idea of taking these people throughout this world, and it's not just like, okay, this is my part, now I'm going to step on the stage. It's like, I'm always on the stage as long as it's relevant to me. It just makes them feel a lot more believable.
Like when a deep speech beast comes in, you know, Lilia, like, what's up with this, Lilia?
Right, exactly. It's like, I can deal with this.
Yeah, or Therese, sorry.
Right, Therese.
Lilia.
Well,
both.
Close enough.
Sure, close enough. Both great. Yeah, we're harping a lot on Far Cry 5 and the storytelling stuff, and I agree with all of that. But also at the end of the day, like I'm
so
kind of
fun.
excited to just see
you're just having fun.
Yeah.
what else I can do.
Yeah.
But
you nailed it too of like bringing up the balance of that.
Right.
Like that's what the game is. It's giving us the message of go have fun. This is a playground. Gut nuts. Shoot a dude in the face with a flamethrower.
Yeah.
But then we're gonna monologue to you for 10 minutes about how evil the world is.
Right.
So it's just kind of the disconnect.
And I think about Far Cry Blood Dragon and why that one resonated with me so much is because everything fit. Like the tone, the ridiculousness, all of that blended with what the game was trying to do. And I wish that was a little bit more.
Yeah, they went all
true.
in on that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And like the reason I love Justified so much is because Raylan Givens and Boyd Crowder are two of the greatest characters ever made in TV. So it's like, how am I going to be attached to this voiceless protagonist? Yeah, I got nothing against voiceless protagonists.
Yeah.
Like, played my fair share of JRPGs. I can get behind it. But at the same time, those voiceless protagonists usually have a party around them that, kind of does the heavy lifting on the emotional side. So it's really hard to get emotionally attached to Far Cry 5. And even in the very beginning, this isn't a spoiler. Like, your companions are dying around you or they're in a hostile situation, and it's like, there's no feeling, like my U.S.
Because you don't really know them.
Because you don't know them, and because this is the Far Cry tone of crazy shenanigans. It's hard. It's hard.
Something I do want to end on with Far Cry 5, and a point I really want to bring up. I get annoyed sometimes at these open games where they're like, hey, go do what you want. And they underutilize the most fun stuff that they have, where it's like, okay, we're going to give you a tank, but just for like this one section, and then you can never use it again because we want it to feel special. And it's like, well, if you're really going to go through the effort of giving me a playground, like, you have to give me the toys so I can have fun. And I think Far Cry 5, part of the reason why I want to keep playing it is because it does that. It's not hard to get a helicopter. It's not hard to get a plane. It's not hard to get a rocket launcher or a flamethrower or a bear, where I feel like if I want to do something, I can reasonably, with not that much effort, go out of my way and do it and have a fun time. And it's like, hey, I've got the wingsuit. Okay, cool. The grappling hook, not that hard to get. I can get it. It's just like, I've got stuff so I can have fun. They're not being too precious with all of those things. And I really appreciate that.
The open world design is incredible. Like, I want to get that point across because even playing Assassin's Creed Origins, like, so much of it is dependent on your level. Like, oh, that's level 40. Like, I'm 35. I'll do that later. Far Cry just drops you in, and it feels so organic of like, what can I do to gear up? Because I'm fighting this war. I am trapped behind enemy lines. I'm surrounded on all sides. Where can I go? What can I do? Who can I meet up with to recruit or get guns from or gear up? So I like the freedom in that sense of be free, Sure. And it doesn't feel like a checklist. It's an open world game where you're, of course, oh, there's a supply over there, like, I'm going to go do that. Or, oh, there's a specialist over there, I'm going to go recruit him. Within the first 10 hours that I've played, it's never really felt like that. It's felt like whatever kind of I stumble upon, I'm going to get involved with. I can kind of like set out a bigger mission of like, okay, I need to go over way over on that side of the island and maybe recruit her to help my cause.
Sure.
But going there, like, I'm going to get caught up in so many things that pull me in all these different directions, and I love that. I love the flow.
Yeah, the only thing that I've slightly noticed with that is I got to a point, because it takes a good number of resistance points to eventually get to the face-off with one of the leaders of the regions. And with some of the side missions, I was like, man, I'm really not getting that many points. Like, it's a fair amount of effort, and I'm not getting that many points. I'm not getting that much money. And so I've kind of gravitated to, it's like, I'm just going to focus on the big things where I'm getting a lot of points, or like a character or something like that. And so sometimes the side missions feel maybe a little bit too inconsequential, but we'll see if I feel that way after I finish. Brad, for a lot of this, you've had to listen to us yammer on about Far Cry 5. But something that you have more experience with than either of us is Sea of Thieves. And it's been, a lot of people have been talking about Sea of Thieves. Give me Brad Ellis's take.
Sea of Thieves, a really interesting game filled with a lot of great ideas, but gets super repetitive and boring.
So what are those great ideas? What makes Sea of Thieves special?
Sea of Thieves, I think, mechanically is a really great game, and how it does stuff. Like, sailing in that game is really fun, especially when you have like the full crew. Like, I know you haven't played with like a crew yet. You've played mostly by yourself, but when you got the full crew on the ship, man. You got people,
Magical.
like raising the sails, turning the sails. You got someone down below deck looking at the map, guiding the island. You got someone up top steering the ship. Maybe you got someone in the crow's nest scouting stuff out.
Love the crow's
all
nest.
that stuff when you're working with your crew, like synergizing really well together. Super satisfying and fun. The tasks are fun the first few times you do it. Like, oh, dude, you got this sick treasure map. Gotta go find the X on the island, dig it up, get this treasure. That's really cool. Gotta kill these skeletons. That's really cool. Get their skull. You gotta do this riddle. That's awesome. Then you just kind of do that forever.
Yeah.
Forever. And it never really changes anything. And you're like, there's a moment like, whoa, there's a kraken in the ocean. This is awesome. And you never see it again. You never know what happens. You look underwater when the kraken's there and there's just nothing there. And you're like, what the hell is this? And it's just like, it has sprinkled with good ideas, but not enough there to keep interested, I would say, for very long. Probably not long enough for what they want people to play this game. It sounds like they want people to play this game for years from what they're talking about. I think you can play this game for 20 hours and be like, I'm cool. I'm good.
So what I've seen people say in defense of Sea of Thieves is that really the majority of the fun that you're having is not from going and getting the treasure chest and bringing it back or going and fighting the skeletons. It is going, getting the treasure chest, getting attacked, trying to defend that treasure, or seeing a ship, invading it, going at that treasure, where it's really the interactions that you make with each other.
That doesn't last, though. Like, that's fun the first few times. Then you do that, like, 5 times. You're just kind of like, okay, whatever. It's not that exciting anymore, like fighting someone.
I've never gone from 100 to 0 and so fast. Okay, I played the first time in a full group with Brad. Unbelievable Disneyland level vibes. Unreal. I am a kid in a candy store. We play for like 3 hours, have a hell of a time. Magical, right? So I'm texting Brad throughout the next day. I'm like, hey, want to play? He's like, yeah, sure, let's play. I hop on with Brad. We do a little co-op. Just, this is it?
Yeah.
Like, wait, we're just, this is the game? We just keep doing this over and over and over again? It was like going from so magical to like the harsh realities of the Sea of Thieves grind. We played for like 45 minutes and I was like, in this state of the game, I never need to play Sea of Thieves again.
Sure.
And that may sound extremely harsh, but with as much good as there is out there right now in video games, like there's just not enough. Like,
I feel like that's not even a harsh statement. I feel like that's not enough to keep people going right now.
Just playing devil's advocate though.
Sure.
I want to push on this a little bit because, you know, you look at something like PUBG or even going back to like DayZ or Rust, you say that, you know, interacting with another pirate ship is only fun for a little bit, but, you know, theoretically, every time you're running into these strangers that you don't know, you know, you're having different conversations. Maybe they want to try to be nice and play allies.
Sure.
Maybe they're super aggressive and trying to taunt you. You know, maybe they try to sail away. Maybe they you know, fire cannons at you or try to sneak on your ship while you go do another objective. Like you think about humans interacting at this on sea. You have so many different variations.
I'll tell you, Ben, there's not actually a lot of people interacting when I've played this game.
Yeah,
I ran into one group my entire time reviewing this game that talked. I think everyone else is on mics talking to each other. Because when you're talking in like the in-game chat, everyone can hear you, which is really cool and awesome. And especially when you like,
but everyone's on Discord or Skype.
Like, no one's really using that, which sucks.
Well, and the thing is, I feel terrible either way. Okay, so we have a ton of treasure, and we get ambushed by people. Cool, I just lost hours. I just lost all my treasure. Or we find someone and they have a ton of treasure, and we kill them, and it's like, great, now I feel like an asshole, just ruined these guys' day. Like, when we attacked those people in town, like, I felt like a bully, you know?
We did bully that guy, yeah.
And adding a PvP faction and, like, a police faction could alleviate those feelings and really bring a lot to the table and add a lot. But again, in this current state, like, hunting people or being hunted feels bad on both ends.
So we talk a lot about... Not a lot, but occasionally we'll bring up the glory days of World of Warcraft and how we loved the brutal interactions that we would have with each other. And sometimes that would suck. You know, maybe you're trying to complete a quest, but and people were griefing you or whatever. But those interactions made the world feel alive and dangerous. So why doesn't that apply here?
It's because the World of Warcraft world is so massive and it's a journey. You start at level 1 and you have that end goal of level 100 or whatever the hell it is now. Or, you know, let's go vanilla. You're from 0 to 60, right? So like you're on your huge adventure. You're in Stormwind or something, and all of a sudden you get attacked. And it's like, that's just one small footnote in this larger journey on the way to level cap and level 60. Sea of Thieves, from minute 1 all the way to Pirate Legend, is the same thing over and over again with like very little in change of scenery. Like you can, you know, break that down in World of Warcraft. You can say, well, all you're doing is killing mobs and doing quests. And it's like, no, I'm going to different places and encountering different people, you know, and seeing new things. And it's like Sea of Thieves, I'm going to an island and I'm climbing up a couple rocks and going into a cave and grabbing a chest. And it's just the same thing over and over over again.
I think you hit the nail on the head. There is... The way that you're interacting in this game seems to me like it's the same way that you're interacting, you know, after you put in 50 hours, where it's like, I'm still using a sword the exact same way. I'm still using a blunderbuss a very similar way, a cannon, a pistol.
Even while you're getting new moves.
It just
and
feels like
talents,
you have the same tools regardless of what's going on. I think you need that. I think you need those moments. Like, even if you got invaded by a ship and it's like, oh man, they're using a weapon that I don't have yet because I haven't gotten there. I haven't worked hard enough. I think that would make you feel different. I think you'd be like, okay, well, this sucks. I lost everything, but eventually I'll be that guy.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I'm notorious for liking really low level gear cosmetically in games. Like within the first couple hours, I'm like, okay, I'm good forever. Like rarely do I gravitate towards the high end looking loot. It's like, all right, I'm gonna grab that jacket and the peg leg and the patch and I'm done. Like within a couple levels, my ideal look of my pirate is done and there's no incentive to keep going. Like, at least if I could get a better sword or a better gun or something. And I know from a balance perspective, like everyone at all times is on an even playing field. But if I'm a pirate legend, shouldn't I have an advantage on a newer
I think
pirate?
that would be... Okay, so I brought this in my review. I think that would be a fine point of like keeping everyone on the same field, but what is there in the combat aspect of the game is not fun enough. It's kind of boring, Ben. Like, fighting with people is just kind of like spamming, like shooting cannons at people is like fun. Yeah, that's cool. But when you're actually fighting someone, it's pretty damn boring.
I did my first... like go hunt the skeletons mission, I think yesterday or the day before, very recently. And I was like, man, this is exciting. Like the vibe that they were giving me, like the skeletons looked fierce in the image for the thing that I was going after. And then I remember getting there and they just kind of crawl out of the ground.
Yeah.
And they'll do the 3-hit combo and you block it and then you do the 3-hit combo. And I was like, this is it? This is it?
For 100 hours.
That's not enough.
Like, the raid that they kind of have, the skeleton raid, is like a step in the right direction where it's pretty much, I don't know if you've seen this yet. So there's if you've seen like that skull, like cloud in the sky, I don't know if you've ever seen that. It looks like a giant skull in the sky.
I have.
So if you sail to that area, there's like an island where there's essentially waves of skeletons you have to defeat. That's like, you're just fighting skeletons again. There's some different types of skeletons, which is kind of cool. There's like gold ones that take more damage. You could throw water on them, I guess, to weaken them. There's like smoke ones you could shine light at. Like, that's neat, but that's all it is. Like, the most fun from those scenarios that I had is when there's other people that stage fighting with you. So like, if you're trying to get the treasure, so after the wave you get a key and there's a bunch of treasure inside. There's deliberately more treasure in there than like a whole crew can get. So bunch of crews could get in there. People are fighting with the treasure.
I think that is a cool idea.
That's a really
Great
cool
idea.
idea. But the act of doing the raid itself is pretty damn boring.
Yeah, and
it's
then
pretty boring.
And then you get that loot, and it's like you earned a couple hundred gold and a fourth of a rep level. Cool.
Well, because you bring all that treasure back, and it's like, well, I'm just working for different looking versions of things.
You're working for nothing.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to bring up, and I want to know if I'm just expecting too much, but I remember when I first booted up the Sea of Thieves beta, and then I kind of had this feeling again when I booted up the full release, and I was like, man, I love the look of this game. I love the way people look. I love the way the sea looks. I love the way my ship looks. But I remember like making my character going in and talking to the person at the bar. And I was like, wait, they don't talk. There's no voice there. There's no sense of humanity.
Yeah.
And then everyone that I talked to, it's like, do you want to browse my wares? I'll say like a couple of things.
I can't even believe. I didn't even think about that, Ben.
Like
I didn't even think about that.
But hold on, just really quick. Like, and then the more I looked at it, and the more I kind of like panned out, it's like, okay, these signs are pointing to like people that just kind of fill roles. Like it doesn't. I was kind of excited, just like starting and playing on my own, to kind of have that sense of like I'm gonna go out and sail this huge world and I don't know what I'm gonna find. And I remember the outpost just feeling so sterile that I had that moment that you were talking about where it's like, these just feel like people that are fulfilling services. Therefore, it's kind of like dampening my sense of like mystery and discovery. Like you need, say what you will, but like in 2004, bringing up World of Warcraft again, like I remember the first time that I would go to like Orgrimmar or Stormwind, and it felt like there was so much to uncover. Like, yes, there were a lot of people filling very specific services, but the way that it was constructed and presented to you, it felt like a place, and you kind of built up to that, and it felt like a moment. And I just am not getting that here. It just feels like repositories for like adventuring stuff.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't know, is that not fair, right? Because then I think about Destiny and it's like, well, Destiny kind of does that too. Why doesn't it bother me there? Why is it weird in Sea of Thieves?
Even Destiny has more in it.
Destiny
Destiny, like,
has more?
I know, when
even
I was-
Destiny 1, when
Yeah.
it came out, had more to do in that game than this. You had some sort of goal you could kind of get, like you get your loot or whatever. You could do
the story mode. You had
Crucible.
Crucible,
The story.
you
There's
had
like
Raid.
nothing in here,
Yeah.
though. There's like a comic. We have like comic books of like story in Sea of Thieves, and there's like no story in Sea of Thieves at all. There's like nothing. There's like cave paintings on a wall. I'm like, cool. What is this? And that's it.
Like we criticize and people criticize Destiny hard, and I criticize Destiny 2 so hard because it's a whole nother thing. Because it's a sequel, it should have more, whatever. But Destiny 1, even having the raid and having that as an end goal, and like having the goal of building up enough to do the most fun thing, you know, having that in sight is really all you need. It's like, okay, give me a reason, give me motivation to go through the entire game to get to a special point, you know, like Sea of Thieves. It's like, okay, that monocle looks cool. I can go get chests for 10 hours and wear it.
Right.
It's like, no, at least in Destiny, it's like, put in the time, put in the work, you get to do Vault of Glass, you get to do the best encounters in the game and the most fun thing in the game. Like,
and on a
cool,
very basic
you've
level.
rewarded me.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
On a very basic level, when you get that helmet or that gun, especially, it's like, okay, this feels different. Like I'm doing more damage. Like there's an immediate, very tangible thing. When you get that monocle, you don't really feel different.
No.
And you need that. You need that tangible sense of progression in a game that you want to keep returning to.
It's so annoying because I really want to like this game more than I can.
Right,
Like,
I agree with you.
Like we're talking about, like it
wanna be
looks
a
so
pirate.
great, it has such great vibes. Like the idea, some stuff it does is really cool.
Yeah.
But it feels like an early access game. That's what it feels like. I'm like, this game is not done.
Yeah.
This game is not done. There's not enough here to keep people interested.
And the sentiment that like, oh, it's the best chat room ever made.
it's
you know,
not
I
though,
keep
because no
seeing
one's
that.
talking.
Yeah, and it's like, well,
No one talks.
Fortnite is a chat room. You can play some Fortnite or some World of Warcraft. Like
Fortnite is free.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Do you think there's anything that they could do to Sea of Thieves that would make you excited to return?
They just need to add stuff.
But
Like, I want to come back to this game.
But my question to you is, they're going to add stuff.
Yes.
They've said that they're going to add stuff. This game will change, okay? But will you, Bradley Ellis, be returning? Because like Huber said at the top of this, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
we got
I
God
feel like
of War this
I
month.
will return because there's not a game necessarily like it.
I see.
There is no pirate game I could play.
So this is different for you
Yes.
than other.
Like this is not
Evolving
another.
games.
Yeah, this is not another like MMO-esque. I guess it is kind of thing, but I'm not like I'm not like it's not like I feel like Destiny or World of Warcraft kind of thing. Not that that's a bad thing or anything like that. It just kind of feels different to me. There's no pirate game like where I could just like sail around on a ship. It's different enough that I want to try this.
There are other games where you can be in space and shoot things. There are other games where you can don armor and fight orcs.
Yeah, but it's just like this one feels different.
Sure,
but there's just not enough here for me yet.
But if there is in the future, you would be excited to return.
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay.
It's gonna be real hard.
Yeah, because like it just depends like what they add.
Because I feel like the entire game would have to be changed. You know, they're like even like an XP system and gaining new abilities, like all that fundamental stuff is not there.
Mm-hmm.
So I really don't know what they could add or how they could change this game.
Added like some weird pirate raid, like you go like there's a specific island, you go there and inside there's some sort of raid you do or something like. Anything,
but even then, without having gear or skills
like
or anything,
here, like,
and it's like, can I just hop on once and go do the raid and be done? Like, let me earn my place. Let me build up to that.
Like that's why we were saying, like, if they had like stuff for your ship, man, like you sail, like even if it's like you sail 1% faster.
Yeah,
I'd be like, sweet, that's something to get.
Yep.
If I do 1% more damage with this weapon, it's something different.
Yeah. So the entire DNA of the game would have to change, honestly.
Like, you got so much cool stuff for this world. You got like mermaids in there. Like they could do stuff where you go like down to some like Atlantis or something like that, down in the sea, something like that. There's just nothing there. There's nothing. There's like one shark in the water. Like that's it, man. Ugh.
It's brutal.
It sucks. I want this.
I want to love it.
This game is so cool in the idea.
Oh, I know what'll get me back in though.
Towns.
Luke Arnold.
Luke Arnold. Luke. Yep. Sure, yes. I will
play.
Me, Captain.
Yeah, that's like a whole different ball.
All right, Hugo.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
Time to set sail.
No, he has to RP the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.
That'd be great.
Make him walk the plank.
Yeah. Make him walk the plank.
Hubert, you're bringing something today to Frame Trap that I'm really glad you're bringing because for whatever reason, I can't convince myself to go see Pacific Rim Uprising, despite really loving the first Pacific Rim.
I am pleading with you. I am begging you to see this movie. Support this movie. Do not take it for granted. Giant robots fighting monsters in the streets of giant cities with giant buildings. Please see this movie.
Okay. But I feel like this is a very Huber thing to say. The fact that it is not Guillermo del Toro is psyching me out.
It hurts.
And I just expect a lower quality thing. I know some people don't like Pacific Rim. Mm-hmm. I really like it. There is this thing, this weirdness, this flavor that no one else has that del Toro can add to a film. It's what makes him special.
Well, the best part of this movie I just read was Guillermo del Toro's idea. We can't dive into that because it's a plot spoiler.
Please don't.
Yeah.
I'm just worried that you know, you build up this preconceived notion of what a thing is because you've been burned in the past, right? Making a sequel to Pacific Rim that doesn't have Del Toro at the helm, I'm like, is this going to be like some studio sanitized thing?
It's not.
That misses the heart.
Not. Please, I'm begging people. I am begging people to see this movie, honestly, because like, this all comes down to like what is Rotten Tomatoes? What is good? What do we classify as a good movie versus a bad movie? No. This movie is exactly 100% what it wants to be.
Show me the heart. Tell me about the heart.
The heart are some of this is the boldest statement, and I swear to you, I'm not lying. Some of the greatest action scenes I have ever witnessed in the cinemas, period. Hands down, draft your tweets. Some of the greatest fight scenes ever. See it in the IMAX, please. You know, like this whole Rotten Tomatoes thing really messing with everyone's minds.
No, forget Rotten Tomatoes,
but it's still so hard to disconnect it. You go on your phone, you see the Rotten, the like 40-something%, and you immediately have a preconceived notion of what the movie is. You're like, oh, it's not going to be that good.
But I was feeling this way before,
of course,
the Rotten Tomatoes.
The trailer
happened.
does the movie no justice.
Right. And so you say that this has really great action scenes, and that's awesome. I enjoy the reason why I was excited about Pacific Rim in the first place was giant robots punching creatures.
Yes.
But I think at the end of the day, especially with a sequel, I need to know that I care about the people punching the creatures.
Absolutely adored these characters. And sure, a couple of them are basic, like in terms of framing and what have you, but it's about connections. Piloting a Jaeger takes two people. It takes that connection. And this is a movie built on connections. Sure, some of the storylines weren't as fully thought out or fleshed out as they could have been, but it was like you have John Boyega and the young up and coming girl that scraps together like a makeshift Jaeger, and you have him and his friend, and you have Bern Gorman and Charlie Day returning from the first movie and their connection, and like you have the leader of the Chinese military company, and she is amazing, and it's like all these people, the way they connect.
So you're telling me beyond the Jaegers, it is worth investing.
It is 100% worth investing.
I will take my money and I will put it on John Boyega.
The main reason you should show up, obviously, are the fight scenes.
Sure.
Like, if you enter the movie to see Pacific Rim, shouldn't you be there for the spectacle? Shouldn't you be there for the action and the adventure?
Absolutely, but
and that's what you get in spades. And okay, you're talking about you should care about it. You should care about the people.
And I'm not saying it has to be the greatest story ever told or make me weep or anything.
It's not. But here's why I'm so obsessed. Because it's not the greatest story ever told, but the entire movie felt high stakes. Same with Pacific Rim 1. These movies managed to feel high stakes where I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know who's going to live or die. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, the movie does both 1 and 2 do a really good job of making the audience feel hopeless. There were so many times in the movie where I was like, what do you do here? There's no getting out. There's no way. And then, like, obviously the hero, well, not obviously, because still I thought, like, terrible things can happen at any given moment.
And that's a special thing, because think of how many things you consume where the world is at risk. And if they can, for the 10,000th time, make you
the
actually
world feel at risk.
Right.
Yes.
And you want the people to succeed. Like, that is a feat. That is not easy to do.
And there's some good twists and turns. And again, the characters aren't that deep, but they're likable. They like John Boyega is. I laughed out loud like 3 or 4 solid times in the movie. Like, Bern Gorman and Charlie Day, amazing. Like, loved the new girl too. She was awesome. She makes this like tiny Jaeger, the scrapper. It's so cool.
Brad, you're sitting there, hood up, arms crossed. You care about Pacific Rim?
We saw it together.
Yeah, I liked it. I definitely don't like it as much as Mike.
Okay.
Like, I don't like
so
a lot.
Give me
like,
that other take.
Well, like a lot of the characters in it, I just didn't care about. I didn't like. Like, there was points in the movie when they would go to these specific characters. You knew who I'm talking about already. They're like, there's characters I do like. Like, I do like John Boyega and some of the other characters. When they come to like, there's these scenes they'd come to these other characters, and I would just be like, boy, it's really grind, slowing it down right here. But it was better. It was better than I thought it was gonna be. I'll tell you that.
Did you like it more than the first one?
No.
Why?
No. I didn't care. Like, in the original one, I cared more about the characters and like their personal struggles, I guess you'd say, going through. The
mystery way more of a mystery.
Yeah, there's definitely way more of the mystery for sure. Like that. It's like not the bot designs. I think some of the bot designs in the new one are really cool too. I don't know. It felt like maybe just because this is the second time, going through, like, it's a sequel after all. So like seeing Pacific Rim, like that idea for the first time is way more exciting, but it was still like crazy seeing some of these fights. Like, Mike's right. Like, some of the fight scenes feel super high budget. I don't know if they're like the best of all time, but they
please see it in the IMAX.
Felt high budget.
Please,
but
see this movie.
We keep let's dig into this, because we keep talking about these fight scenes and how great they are and how incredible they are and how excited they're visibly making you, Huber.
Yeah.
But is it like they just look really cool? Because what I'm hoping, it's like, oh, they're really creative. I never expected, the building to be used that way, or the creature to do that. Like, what makes these fight scenes so exciting?
Where I was like, whoa, this is like super.
The story moments. Like, I can't give anything away. I refuse. But there are like story moments where things happen during a fight where you're like, wait, what? Why is this happening? Or like,
So it catches you out of nowhere.
Catches you out of nowhere. Again, the Jaeger takes 2 pilots, so the relationship between the pilots trying to work together to figure this thing out, like that is its own little thing within this larger fight scene.
The way that you're selling it is that anytime a fight scene is happening, the vision that I have in my mind, where they're just selling this level of stress and intensity, and like they're really struggling to get through these encounters.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You're at the edge of extinction throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it, like the world actually feels at risk, but I'm saying like kind of on a micro level where it's like, how are we going to just beat this one
It's a struggle
single
every time.
monster? Okay.
Yeah, it feels.
And like there's the Chunin exams, not exams, but there's like the young Chunins, like
That's what I don't like.
the
I
young.
don't like any of them.
There's like the young Jaeger pilots that are like trying to come up because Boyega is like a veteran, and he's like the best, the professional. But then there's all these young kids trying to come up in the academy to pilot Jaegers because like,
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have pilots ready in case something happens.
Brad, do you not like these young pilots because they're annoying, because they feel throwaway? What is it?
No, I mean they're definitely in the back seat compared to like Boyega, of course, but like they don't necessarily feel like total throwaway. I just didn't really care. I just didn't connect any of their conversations. Like even the girl, I don't like that at all. Mike loves her.
Are there just too many of them?
There's
There's a lot.
There's
but
a lot of them. Yeah.
They don't get a lot of FaceTime.
They
But
don't.
there's enough to have some kind of attachment to like that's the funny guy, that's the nice guy.
Yeah, like there's some
that's
sort
the
of
mean
thing,
girl.
but I just didn't care.
Okay. I feel like I
Trust
need
me.
to see it.
Yeah.
See
feel
it
like I
in
need
the
to see it.
biggest screen possible. It frustrates me. This all goes back to like an Avatar situation where I came out of the movie with Avatar. Again, that was 10 years ago. A lot of different feelings about Avatar. But I remember coming out of the feeling of Avatar and being so blown away and so my brain was just melted. And then you see people criticize it to death. And I'm like, did you see it in the IMAX 3D? And like, no, I just saw it 2D in a regular theater. And it's like, please don't dismiss the format. It's so easy to write that off of like, oh, it's just a bigger screen. No, it's not. Listen to Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest filmmakers of our generation, talk to you about large formats and talk about how watching a movie in an IMAX is so much different than watching it on your do we talk about that like you watch a movie on your TV versus a movie theater? It's so different. That's
Absolutely.
the same thing with a theater and an IMAX. Like, this is a movie made to see in the biggest, loudest screen possible, have some popcorn, and just treat yourself. Enjoy it.
And I think that is a totally valuable perspective, and absolutely the way that you consume a movie will change your opinion on it. But I don't think that makes anything like any movie exempt from criticism.
Of course.
Like,
but it makes it better.
absolutely. But sometimes people have to deal with what they got. Not everybody
True.
can just,
Of course.
walk down the street and
course.
there's an IMAX 3D. And I think
Of course.
any movie,
I take
any
Los Angeles for granted.
absolutely,
For sure.
exactly. And I want you to keep that in
sure.
mind, because I think on a fundamental level, the story should still be there.
For sure.
Regardless
think
of
if
whether
you-
you're viewing it on
Pacific
your phone
Rim
or
1 stands up on a Blu-ray on a TV. Pacific Rim Uprising, honestly, I don't know how well it would stand up, but in the IMAX,
Yeah.
I promise you, it delivers.
I think if you like the first one,
I do.
You'll
I
have
do.
fun with this one.
I'm obsessed. This is my favorite movie of the year. Straight up.
Holy shit.
We still got a lot of year left.
Yeah,
We got a lot of
Avengers
years
isn't
left.
out
Yeah,
yet,
still
so
got a lot of
Avengers is not yet, but this is my number one right now.
I am
Straight
definitely not as invested in the Marvel movies as some of you guys are, but I
Dude, you know
got
I'm- you
really
know I'm not.
excited with that last Infinity War trailer.
I haven't
Needed
watched
black.
I
it.
thought that was a good
I
trailer.
haven't watched it out of respect for Michael Huber. I'm like,
Okay.
no,
Well, I
don't-
watched
don't
it.
need to
I
watch
thought it
this.
was pretty good.
Because I'm gonna see with Mike, dude. Because it's so cool having a franchise that I don't care about watching the trailers that much.
Yeah.
So when I watch the movie, I have no idea what's coming.
Exactly.
Which is great.
I feel like I'm so hit and miss with superhero movies that I need the trailer to kind of get me on the hook.
For sure. I've seen all of them pretty much. So I'm like, well, I gotta see this one too. I guess just kind of locked in.
So that's where you're at.
I'm there.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been there
Okay.
for years.
Okay.
See Pacific Rim.
I
see
do want
it.
to say, in that last segment, we did trigger the caught in a frame trap.
Oh,
But sometimes, when when the word catches, it's because they're annoyed. There's some sort of vendetta. They just liked the way that these two words sounded together. It's a very chill, let's take a moment and appreciate how these words combine when they come out of your mouth. And the two words were Tiny Jaeger. Just fun to say.
I was hoping you were going to say IMAX 3D.
Nope, just tiny Jaeger. I got
Jaeger.
Got my little Tiny Jaeger. Gonna take it for a spin on Easter Sunday.
Dude, it rolls around like Samus. It's
ooh.
please don't.
Now that's how you get me on the hook.
Don't take this for granted. This is a $150 million movie about robots fighting monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Why? In what world can we just dismiss it?
No, you're right. You're right.
Come on.
Well, for people who don't like giant fighting robots,
I do agree.
Fair, of course,
of course. that sentiment is really annoying. Where when you're presented with something that is supposed to be simple, where they're really going in on the pure, simple.
It doesn't need to be more than it is.
Right. It doesn't need to be more than it is. And I do get annoyed where it feels like for some people everything has to
Rotten
be
Tomatoes.
more than it is.
No, it's got a 40%.
And I agree. I think that has had an effect on it.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I get that.
If you have no idea what's going on with when I say caught in a frame trap or Tiny Jaeger, we have this moment in the show where we pause, we take a little bit breather from the intense discussions about whatever we've been having. Looks like maybe Huber, maybe it seems like it's a good time for that to happen with Michael Huber.
I'm so passionate about this movie.
Yeah.
It's like me talking about Last Jedi, dude.
We take a little bit of a break and we play a game. And we're going to be doing a multiple choice game today, and it's going to be the first game developed. I'm going to give you a list of developers. I'm going to give you a developer, and you're going to tell me the first game that we developed. Now, there's a trick for this one. There's not always a trick. It is hard. So I tried to pick developers that don't have... Some of them do have a lot of games to their name, but not like 500.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do anything... Like, I'm not going to be like Capcom or like Nintendo. It's going to be something that's should be a little bit more contained. The trick, though, is some of these people... I want to know the first game they developed under this name.
Mm.
So that's going to be the change. Not that they, as a collective, didn't make things beforehand, but under this name that I'm giving you, what was the first game that they developed? So that might throw you off a little bit. But we also take this time. There's some people that support this show, that sponsor this show, and it means a lot to us. If you would like to sponsor the show, you can go to patreon.com/easyallies, and we will talk about whatever you want. We have so many cool, crazy sponsors. We've got people making games. We've got people that just want to promote their Twitter or Facebook. We've got people making music. We've got a musician this time that I'm excited to talk about. So yeah, if you want more details, go to Easy Allies or Patreon. Excuse me, I can't even do our own plugs right. Patreon.com/Easy Allies. Our first sponsor, longest frame trap sponsor. Got to give him credit. Greg TheDarkKnight Kettering. Kettering.
We played Monster Hunter with him today.
We played Monster Hunter with him today, 4 weekly hunts.
Really hope he's playing Batman: The Enemy Within.
You want to talk with him about it?
Yeah. Really hope so.
No, but sincerely, Greg, thank you for the longtime support of the show. And also, another huge longtime sponsor, Zen Market. And they got new copy for us. Oh. Yeah. Zenmarket.jp is the place to get games, anime, merch, and more directly from Japanese online stores. You can even bid on Japanese auction sites in real time. With the flattest fees in the biz, Zen Market is the downright nicest way to start importing Japanese goods yourself. And now, Zen Market offers a subscription service called Zen Pop. If you need more Japan in your life, try a big mix of authentic Japanese snacks, noodles, or stationery delivered each month with free shipping. This actually sounds pretty awesome.
Yes.
Visit, I want to try it for a month, see what I get. Visit zenpop.jp and use code EASYA during checkout to save $5 on any subscription plan. Find Zen Market and Zen Pop on social media or visit their homepages for more info. Our last sponsor for this episode is Thomas J. Thomas J writes and produces weird, heartfelt electropop and alternative rock, taking influence from everything under the sun. Listen to his music at thomasj.bandcamp.com and follow him on Twitter at HippoThomasJ for updates and bad takes. P.S. Arms is the true goatee of 2017.
Whoa. That's a hot take.
That is a hot take.
He wasn't
Very
kidding.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Persona 5.
All of the links that are relevant to our sponsors will be in the description below if you want to check those people out.
Yo,
Yeah.
Persona 5.
Yeah.
It's a really good video game.
It is.
It is.
It is. I'm still a little bit burned because for the longest time you said it was your goatee, and I was caught off guard when you were like, Evil Within 2.
It's different.
It's fine. People change their minds. I understand.
Evil Within 2 is my favorite game of the year. But if I'm going to put my game of the year hat critically on, if I'm going to put my newspaper hat on, and we're voting on this thing, it's Persona 5.
Okay.
But my personal, for me and me alone.
Yeah.
For me and me alone,
It was
Evil
for
Within
you
2.
alone, for sure.
For the world and for what I really think is the GOTY, the game of the year that everyone should play, it's Persona 5.
It's so tough, and why like I don't dread game of the year, but it's really difficult to sort out your feelings because I was having a conversation the other night where I'm like, yeah, I put Persona 5 up there, and I think like the thing that I'm gonna vote for, I want it to be Persona 5. It was just such an incredible experience for me, but the act of playing Breath of the Wild might be something like that singular experience might be the best like moment that I had. If I had moments of 2017, it might be playing through Breath of the Wild. Now I have a lot more complaints with Breath of the Wild than I do Persona 5, and just experiencing some of the specific insanity moments of Nier Automata, like craziest storytelling moments, it's Nier for me. So you get all these weird categories, hard to sort out your feelings. But
Yeah, it is.
But Zelda, game of the year.
Zelda is our official
Zelda
game
was
of
our
the
game of the year.
My game of the year is Persona 5. Your favorite game of the year is
I think
Evil
all
Within
three of
2.
us voted for Persona,
Yeah.
but it's like, for me, it's like, hey,
I'm cool with it. Breath of the Wild, 10
Breath
out
of
of
the
10.
Wild, yeah, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild where it's like, I'm cool
like you
with
could
this.
change for me any day.
Yeah.
Like which one I want more. So I was like, okay, I
It's
win. I
stressing
win
you
no
out
matter
just
what.
thinking about
yeah, it ain't right, dude. It's like picking kids, man.
It is like picking kids. I'm kind of worried about that, like having a kid and then having a clear favorite. Like that, I'm gonna feel so bad.
I think you'll be okay though.
You think so?
You'll
Yeah.
love them equally.
Yeah, I think.
Because I've got cats right now, and I really do love both of them equally, and so
It's
I
way
hope that's
different.
what fatherhood is like.
It's got to be different.
Okay, all right. Although one of the cats smells, we gotta deal with that. That's been a problem. We gotta deal with the smell, and I think it's coming from his mouth, and so when he bathes himself,
Halitosis.
yeah, we gotta deal with that. That's a problem.
Send him
Anyway,
to the vet.
time for the game.
Brush those teeth.
So the way that this is going to work, you're going to have multiple choice. You're going to have three options. Please wait until I say the name of the developer and all three options.
Okay,
Then you can
Hotake.
answer. You must whisper Hotake into the mic. The first person to whisper Hotake gets to answer. If you get it wrong, the other person gets a chance to take your point. Are we ready, contestants?
Ready.
First developer, Naughty
I
Dog.
knew this was coming.
Yeah. Option A, Wave the Warrior. B, Keith the Thief. C, Crash Bandicoot. Ooh, Brad coming in.
It's Crash Bandicoot, right?
Not Crash Bandicoot. Here we get a chance to
I don't know
steal.
what it
Your
is.
options are
What is it,
Wave
Hubert?
the Warrior or B, Keith the Thief. I like that you went
I've
for
never
it,
even
Brad.
heard of these.
Yeah.
Wave the Warrior.
Incorrect. Both wrong.
Oh,
Never even
I haven't
heard
even
of
heard of
Game
these games.
called Keith the Thief. That was a tough one.
What even is that game?
So apparently it is a computer made for the Apple II, I believe.
Oh, man, that's way far away,
RPG that's got like this really kind
How
of
long
funny,
ago? What year?
exaggerated style, at least according to the box art. But
What
look
year
at-
was this?
I don't know what year Keith the
You
Thief
should.
Decade. Give me the decade.
You should play it.
Yeah, give me the decade.
Some
here.
Naughty Dog fan you are,
I
Hubert.
know.
Go look up Keith the Thief after the show.
Okay.
Go look
Cool.
up Keith the Thief after the show. We got to move on.
right,
Nobody
let's
gets a
move
point
on.
there. Another one. It feels like I'm targeting Huber with a lot of these choices, and I'm not. It's just
It's all right.
the options that I came up with. They
Just
seemed
get
like
me
good
out of this
options.
frame trap, dude.
Remedy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we have the options are A, Death Rally, B, Max Payne, C, Agents of Storm.
Okay. Death Rally.
Is Death Rally?
What the hell is
done,
that?
Michael Huber.
Car combat game.
Oh, okay. Man, was that like
My
phone
PS1
wasn't on
game?
silent.
PS1 era?
PC.
That era, probably?
PC.
It was
Yep.
big back
Yep,
then.
Yep. That's right. Huber nailed it. Next one. Brad, I feel like you got a chance with this one.
Oh, boy.
I feel like you both have a chance with this one. Platinum Games.
Oh.
I don't
So
know.
as Platinum Games,
As
remember,
Platinum
as
Games.
Platinum
Shoot,
Games,
Okay.
is it A, Mad World, B. Anarchy Reigns, or C. Infinite Space?
Okay,
I'm not sure that was a Hotake, but we'll give it to you.
I know Mad World came out before Anarchy Reigns. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna say C.
The other thing that I do want to stipulate that should be said is we're saying released in North America.
Okay.
You're going to say C?
Yeah.
So the options are A, Mad World, B, Anarchy Reigns, C, Infinite Space. You said C.
I'm gonna say C.
Okay. Incorrect.
Mad World. A.
Correct.
Dang it.
Brad's on the board.
Trust in my gut.
That's the only one I knew about. So
I
was like,
always wanted to play Anarchy Reigns, dude.
I did play Anarchy
what's his
Reigns.
name
Yeah,
from
I played on
Mad World's
360.
in it. So I was like, but I never played it.
Yeah, it was really fun. There were not a lot of people playing online, and it kind of relied on that.
Damn.
But it was fun when I played it. Yeah,
That was one that got away from me. The swimming in 7 that failed to
It
be.
is definitely one of those. Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to bring that up at the top, but I am when I do these developers, I'm saying released in North America first
Got
under
it.
this name.
Dude,
So
Mad World's cool.
that's on me.
That's
Yeah, Mad
fine.
World is really
I
cool.
could go for a Mad World too. I could go for that
Sure.
on Switch.
You know, I'd be happy with just I played Mad World,
Yeah.
a good chunk of Mad World. I don't
The
think I finished Mad
chainsaw?
World. And like I love the games coming to Switch that's like, oh, I didn't finish that.
Yeah.
That's a really good spot for Switch and me. Next one, Ninja Theory. A, Heavenly Sword, B, Enslaved, C, Kung Fu Chaos.
Okay.
It's a close call. I think I heard Huber first.
Okay.
Kung Fu Chaos.
Incorrect.
Oh, it was
Heavenly
after
Sword.
Heavenly Sword.
No, so this is where the rule comes in.
North America.
No.
as Ninja Theory.
As Ninja Theory, the first one was Heavenly Sword. They were under a different name for Kung Fu Chaos.
I remember that too because it's on Xbox.
Yes,
Xbox
technicality
original.
there,
Yep.
but Brad takes it. Tricky question.
it.
Tricky question. Next one, we have Lionhead. Huber, this is your chance to tie it up.
Yeah, this
Lionhead. We've got A, the movies, B, black and white, C, Fable. Brad.
Fable.
Incorrect.
Shoot.
Huber.
HOTTAKE black and white.
Correct.
Was that
black and white.
Was that studio formed at that time? Because I know it was before, right?
Black and White was the first game that they made, Lionhead Studios.
God games, bro.
What?
He loves his
Oh,
God.
God
He
games.
loves his God games.
He also likes overpromising and not delivering.
I feel like that was this
That's
this
not
kind
even
of
like a
frame
shot.
trap was a pretty intense level of difficulty, which I like.
That's like not even a shot, you know? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, whatever happened to that like cube game?
Yeah, weren't you doing that? You were you tapped the cube.
Oh no,
a
that
couple
happened,
times.
and like somebody
He,
won.
yeah, but he screwed the guy over, right?
Well, it was like I don't remember the exact details of it. It's been a long time. I thought like he got in on the God game that they were making,
Yeah.
but also fell through or whatever. That seemed like a whole mess.
I don't know.
I don't even
He's
remember
doing
the name
now.
of that God game.
You remember like Milo?
Milo Ventimiglia.
I was
They-
really
they're
excited
showing
about
Milo.
I kind of bought into the
Hey,
promise
Milo.
of Milo.
Hi.
I shouldn't have.
It's like, nah, I'm good.
Fable. People were asking us about huge crushing disappointments that we had, or like unpopular opinions. They were asking us that on the Q&A. I remember being really excited about Fable, and my friends were really excited about Fable. I remember playing the first Fable, getting through it really quickly, and being like, "That was it." I felt so burned by
Can
the
you believe
original
there's
Fable.
three Fable games?
Yeah,
It's hard to believe. Because
I don't like Fable 3 either.
they all kind of blend.
Didn't finish 3.
The pinnacle to me was the intro to Fable 2 when you're the children in the snow village.
You were talking like Disneyland Christmas vibes.
Unbelievable intro, but
Beat 2.
yeah,
Didn't bother
I beat
beating
them
the
all.
other
I think
ones.
2 is the only one that I didn't finish. I finished 1 and 3.
I gave up on 1 and 3, I think.
I'd like to
Oh,
revisit.
did I beat
those.
1? I can't remember. I might have beaten 1, but I for sure didn't beat 3.
I just remember really being burned on the original Fable
Dude,
and
that-
not liking it.
The ending of 3 is
For all of the
Oh my
ways that they talked
gosh.
it up, no.
no. We're not going down the Fable route.
We're not going down the Fable route. Well, we are
But
going
at the
down.
same time, if they announced a new Fable at
Dude, I
E3,
could
I'd
really
be
go
on board.
I could really go for new, like, real Fable.
Yeah,
Fable,
I'd be all in
Yeah.
on a new Fable.
Me too.
really?
Yeah,
Man, I think about how much I didn't like Fable 3. And how boring it was.
For sure.
How much your decisions.
reboot it. just the frame is there.
I'd be nervous.
Like the visuals.
It has to be in the right hands. If you told me like Obsidian is gonna make the next Fable,
yes,
we're in. We're good.
Yes.
I know they're gonna make good on the promise of
Obsidian,
Fable.
make it.
Yes.
Obsidian could do it.
Obsidian could do it, man.
Obsidian could do it.
For me, it's like I got nothing to lose really with Fable.
Oh,
Yeah, no
I see.
investment.
No stakes.
Yeah, I got like no stakes.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like Fable falls into that category where like there were enough good ideas and enough moments where like I can kind of see something here. Like it wasn't total garbage.
Yeah.
But just that feeling of constant disappointment was also kind of swimming in the waters at the same time.
Yeah.
At least for me. At least for Ben Moore.
It's like you're swimming in sevens, but you're not content in the pool. There's like a better pool over there, and it's like, I'm having fun, but I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on, both of you, since you tied, will have to break us.
Cool.
Wait a minute. Okay, because neither one of you got the first one. I was going to say, wait, did they tie? Yes, they did tie. Not even one of you got a point for the first
dude,
one.
I
So you
got
both
it.
have two.
No, even better.
Collectively, you'll have to team up to break us out of the frame trap with either a word, a gesture, some sort of action. What do you got for us?
We're fighting Cell right now, and I'm dead, but you're alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I gotta do that.
How many Dragon Ball breakouts will there be?
What was this? His right arm was up like that? There we go.
There it is.
You didn't want to do the fusion? The fusion would have been dope.
We've
feel
done
like we've
fusion
done it.
before,
Yeah,
though.
we've done
fusion
God,
before.
do it again. It always gets us out.
We'll get to a point, like Frame Trap 120, where it's like, okay, we've done every scene from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Then we go to Naruto.
Yes.
Okay, we got more games to talk about. I always like it when we can all chime in on the game, but this is one that I've just been playing on my own. Kirby Star Allies. I finished.
Yeah, we've played a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's true. You have played a little bit of Kirby Star Allies. I played it mostly by myself. I played with you guys on the stream co-op, and then I played the demo co-op as well. So Kirby Star Allies is a game. You talked about that phrase that we like to use a lot, swimming in sevens, and that's sort of how I feel. It's a very charming, good-looking game. It's kind of fun getting the different powers and seeing what they will do. You can combine them now. So if you have like a cutting blade, you can light it on fire, and there'll be puzzles where you have to combine things a certain way to get through it. And as Bloodworth says in his review, the final boss fight is crazy anime bullshit in a really good way.
Nice.
They kind of just, and I remember Triple Deluxe really amping up at the end too. They really amp everything up, and you have this big dramatic fight that is a lot of fun to go through and to witness. I think my problem with Kirby Star Allies is it's fun, and I liked it, and I was glad that I bought and played it. But it never really, outside of the ending, it never really had a moment where I was like, oh man, that was really clever. Like, it'll have these ideas, but then they just keep reusing them. So they do these.
I feel like that's just what a Kirby game feels like always for me, though.
Did you
I
did you
don't
play
feel that
single
way
player
always.
the whole way? Single player?
I played single player pretty much the whole way. Yeah, I've done a little
Like,
bit. I've done a little bit of co-op. to
When
get
has a
enough of the
Kirby
sense of it.
game like blown you away?
Triple Deluxe.
I don't know if blowing me away, but I don't even know if I'm asking to be blown away. I just.
But like that's what I'm saying. Kirby's just kind of like it's in the 7 territory for me, like forever. That's where it is.
Yeah, it's tough because I think we're getting into this territory where we're dealing with my memory of something. You know, I haven't been playing Kirby back to back, but I remember Dreamland 2, and I loved the levels in Dreamland 2, where I felt like I was being constantly surprised. Things were escalating and changing. It's been forever since I've played Dreamland 2. I don't even have my copy of Dreamland 2 anymore. But Triple Deluxe is a more recent example where at least what I remember of Triple Deluxe is as I was going through it, I felt like things were constantly fresh. And there are so many moments in Star Allies where it's like, okay, you got to get through these rocks, and it will tell you need to combine this thing with that thing, do it, and get through the locks. And so it's just like you kind of just stop, you do the thing that they make abundantly obvious, and then you go through. And I see people say like, oh, it's a kids game, it's supposed to be easy, but even Kirby's Epic Yarn, okay? In Kirby's Epic Yarn, because you are made of yarn, you transform into so many different things throughout that whole game. Like, yes, I feel like I remember things repeating, but going into a level in Epic Yarn, I have the sense of I don't really know what I'm going to expect. And that there were some surprises in Star Allies, but not enough to keep me invested. Like I remember being in the final world. I'm like, oh man, we're kind of doing this thing again. And I felt like they could have not reused ideas as much.
It's a multiplayer game focus, so maybe some of that like creativity got lost in making it more not even a competent, like multiplayer focused game. They were focusing more on the sense of people playing together instead of like how you were looking at it for like things changing every now and then.
For sure. And having not played through the game co-op, I think that is a fair thing to argue. But just coming at it from my perspective,
right? Of course.
And even when I did play, so like I played the demo all the way through co-op, and I did play with you guys co-op, I still got kind of the same sense where it's like, okay, you come over here, you do this thing, you hit the up button, you go and you do it. It just...
I think 4 players, too, felt like way too much.
It was a lot of chaos.
It was way too much chaos, and not the good kind of chaos. And it was start and stop. Granted, we were kind of learning how to play, but there were still so many moments where it was like, you know, come this way, or let me give you this. And it just felt too cluttered. So I think maybe 2 players... You know, I'd be anxious to go through this game with 2 people.
I can agree
and
with that.
see how the flow is in that sense. And I think that might be the sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like Kirby All-Star. It's like 2-player pretty much. So it felt way less chaotic. You could focus on the game more, a little more variety from what I remember. It's been a long time since I played that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you with All-Star. Kind of just like, all right. It's like fun. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
But
at least Kirby, like... You know, you look at Sonic. I like Sonic Forces and Sonic Unleashed. But you look at Sonic and he's had some really high highs and really low lows. And Kirby's kind of maintaining, you know? Rarely, me personally, I don't think I've ever played a terrible Kirby game, but I've played some terrible Sonic games. So... What do you think of that, Ben? You know, you're a Kirby fan. It's like, would you rather have this franchise live on in mediocrity and have okay games every couple years? Or would you rather have it be Sonic, where you get some really good ones and some really terrible ones? Or would you rather it be retired? Or option D, would you rather have it be Mario and Zelda, where you get one every like 4 years, 5 years?
It's interesting because I was talking to Blood about it, and he brought this up, and I completely agree with him, where Kirby, it feels like sometimes you have the safest... They alternate between the safest games you could possibly imagine, where it's just kind of like, hey, it's Kirby as you know it with a twist. But then they also have the most outlandish spin-off games. You know, you've got things like Canvas Curse and Rainbow Curse, where it's like, I control Kirby entirely by creating lines. You've got the Game Boy Advance game where you have to like tilt to move him around. You've even got things like Kirby Dream Course, where it's this crazy golf game. And so Kirby has all of these like crazy wild ideas, and then you play something like Star Allies, and it's like, why does it feel like there's not enough here? And I think my problem with it is I'm okay with like safe Kirby. I like safe Kirby. It's still fun, you know, sucking up a dude. Somebody's gonna clip this out and it's gonna sound awful. Sucking up a dude and getting his power. Like that's still kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
But I think with Star Allies specifically, like when we're playing co-op and not immediately having fun and it just kind of being a mess, and it doesn't really feel like we have to use each other in a cool, fun way with 4 people, right? Or when it's like, hey, you can combine powers, and it's like, why isn't this more fun? Like there would be times I'd be going through Star Allies and I'd be like, oh yeah, I guess I could combine a power and I could be a little bit more powerful. Like I would just forget about it until the game would stop me and be like, hey, do you want to get this secret? You have to combine a power a certain way. And I don't think it should feel like that. Yeah. Like, even for a kid's game, I know it can be easy. It can be for kids. That's totally fine.
It's not even like the act of it being easy, though.
Right. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to go out of your way to add this new thing, make it feel like more of a presence.
Well, because, like, Epic Yarn, super easy game, too. Right. But it was more exciting going through that game.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the sense that I'm trying to convey. However, at the same time, if somebody came up to me and they're like, man, I'm just dying for some Kirby, I want to suck up a dude and get his powers, I'm like, this will get your fix. You know, if I think it is good enough that if you know what you're looking for,
I feel like Kirby will probably have a good time.
You'll be kind of satisfied. It's just, I got this sense of this entire game. And I think the final boss fight especially illustrated it to me, where it's like, you could have done more here. You could have done more
Gotcha.
For this to be exciting.
Hopefully they learn from it then.
More consistently. Yeah. I try not to do this. This is my own fault. But there's another game that I want to talk about.
Oh, geez. Breaking the rules.
Yeah, breaking the rules. And that is Super Castlevania IV.
My favorite.
Is it your favorite?
Yeah, it's my favorite Castlevania.
Okay. So sometimes I get in these
By
moods.
far.
Onimusha was one of these things. The Mega Man run through that I did, where I'm really stressed out, and like I've been working a lot recently. I've been going through a lot of stressful things. We just had the anniversary, and I'm like, I just want to play something in one sitting. I want it to be 2D. I want it to be really reasonably challenging. And I realized, like, I had played a lot of Castlevania 4 before, even somewhat recently. It's like, okay, I've been through the treasury, but I was like, I haven't gone through the whole thing. I haven't defeated Dracula. So I'm like, I'm going to sit down and in one sitting on my SNES Classic, I'm going to play through Super Castlevania 4. And that's made even easier because you got save states and all that. And I had an incredible time. And we were talking about Kirby, right? And we were talking about how it's like, man, why were they not being more creative here? Why do I have the sense that there wasn't enough? It's Super Castlevania 4. You do so much crazy shit, man. Like, the first time you grab onto this thing and the room starts rotating, and then you have to land on this platform, you have to fend off Medusa heads, and then you have to get back on the platform and it rotates again. Or you're in this like giant barrel and it's rotating around behind you and you're walking and the floor is collapsing. Or you get into this ballroom and ghost dancers. It's like you're, what's that ride? It's like you're in Haunted Mansion in Disneyland and you're experiencing it and the table is moving. And you just never know what to expect, and with every scene, like there's a picture and it'll grab you. It's so much fun, and I've seen people online, very popular people, criticize that it really sucks that you can whip in so many directions. That kind of takes away from the Castlevania nature of it.
Come on.
That it makes it too easy. That seems to upset you.
Yeah.
Why is that?
That just makes me feel more in control instead of like some random BS where this guy's in a really stupid area that I can't hit. Mm-hmm. If it makes it like, hey, I get hit, I have the opportunity to avoid the situation if I played this properly instead of just some random BS where I like can't whip in this specific direction. It's like, it's one of those things of what they did, and I'm kind of mad they never went back to with the whip. Like I think about like Rondo of Blood, like you don't have much control. I don't know if that's before it or not. But it's like, dude, this is like the perfect amount of whip control. I feel in control as Simon Belmont right here. Then just kind of like, no, let's take that back. It's like, I'm sorry. It's like they're saying,
please give me all.
It's like they're
give me
saying,
all.
I don't like this thing because I like the stupid frustration part of the old Castlevania. It's like, I love the old Castlevania as much as everyone else, but it's like, this is like clearly superior in this control of your whip.
I think the argument is working around limitations, right? Where it's not that like, hey, I like this because it feels bad. It's like, this is what I can do. How do I deal with enemies where I can't just whip up and attack?
Dude, you could have totally made a whip like that on the NES versions. A whip that did in every direction. You can do that. You could have programmed like something at least in 4 ways. Like in the old Castlevania, it's hit or hit, and that's it.
Yeah.
But when you got 4, you got like every single angle around you. It's like, yes, this is perfect control for this.
Well, and what I want to say about the level design in Castlevania 4, and I think maybe while you're hearing the too easy stuff about Super Castlevania 4, I think Super Castlevania 4, from the classic Castlevania games that I've played, has the best like natural curve of difficulty.
Sure, yeah.
Because it does start out much easier than a lot of them, where I think if you're playing Castlevania, you're going to have a tougher time in Castlevania 1 more quickly, or in Castlevania 3, from what I remember of Castlevania 3, it's been a long time.
Dude, Castlevania 3 is not easy.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I remember. And especially in like Rondo of Blood or Dracula X. In Castlevania 4, I feel like anybody can kind of get through the first few levels with little difficulty, but it does ramp up, and you're getting to these moments where it's like, okay, the way that they're positioning enemies, like, you're going through the hallway and you have like this, they only use it in like this one section of the game, that like colored mist that even if you go off screen, it will follow you and it'll bounce around. Even though you can nip in all these directions, it's still kind of hard to deal with. It's this new threat. You'll have very vertical sections later on where it's like, okay, I can whip in all these directions, but how do I get to that platform?
The game, game like takes that in consideration in its design, which is great.
Yes, I feel like it keeps in mind how versatile you are and creates new challenges around that. But, Michael Huber, you said this was your favorite one. Yeah. And I'm somebody that holds Castlevania 1 in really high regard. I love that game. What is it about Castlevania 4 that you love, even over something like Symphony of the Night?
Just vibes. Symphony of the Night is like too clean for me. It's a very like clean game.
Okay.
Castlevania.
I'm not sure I understand this.
Castlevania 4 has like this kind of grimy, old world vibe to me. It's hard for me to put into words, but
so when you think of Castlevania 4, what's the first thing that pops in your head?
Rough and gruff, old world, classic vampire story.
Okay.
Whereas Symphony of the Night has just this kind of like sleek. It's a sleek game.
Do you think a lot of that has to do with the protagonist? Like you think about Alucard versus Simon, who's in armor and a weapon. You think that's a big part of it?
Totally. Okay. Love Symphony of the Night. One of the greats. Not criticizing it at all. 10 out of 10. It's like comparing Mario 64 to the Galaxy or something, you know?
No, it's okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to make the title of this video, Hubert hates Symphony of the Night. Yeah. No, you're among friends.
But like you were saying, the difficulty curve, Ben.
Yeah.
When Lords of Shadow came out, when I was in college, I went back and I was going through all the Castlevania games just to catch up. And Super Castlevania 4 was the one that stood out the most. It was the most fun to go through, Symphony of the Night is such a big game. People can speedrun it or go through it in one sitting or whatever. But, for a first playthrough, Symphony of the Night is an intimidating game. It's a large game.
Yeah.
Super Castlevania 4 still has that, I'm going to sit down and go through this in one go.
Yes.
Still has that old style of going through an old video game.
Yes.
Which I love.
I completely agree. And because now, even when you get the games, the new independent games that are paying homage to something like Mega Man or Castlevania or Metroid, they're great a lot of times. There are a lot of good games that are aping that style, but they're also really long. Yeah. Like they're 10 or 15 or 20 hours. And I agree. I want more games where it's like I can just sit down on a Saturday night and get through this and have a good time and fight Dracula.
Yes.
Yeah, I think all of us prefer, I don't know if, well, at least I do, like the style of the older ones where you're going through
just the art
like
style.
Stages. I would say like instead of the more Metroid ones, I was always a fan of the Castlevanias more where you go through like specific stages. Don't get me wrong, I like the Metroid ones a lot. I'm just saying like that's the kind of Castlevania I like. Like if they brought Castlevania back, that's kind of I would want.
I'm realizing that I didn't, like growing up, I didn't appreciate Castlevania in the way that I should. Like I took it, what I'm saying is I took it for granted. Where like I would play them and enjoy them, but I'd be like, oh, I'll get to this DS one eventually. And now that like we don't get Castlevania a lot anymore, I'm like, I'll never do that again. Like you release a super good new Castlevania, I'll play that immediately. I promise. Yeah, and there are a lot of. I feel that way with Mega Man. Like I always kind of felt like Mega Man would be there. Yeah. And he's
coming back though.
Yeah, he's coming back. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Oh yeah,
it's been a long time since Mega Man.
Castlevania will rise again.
Maybe.
You think so?
100%.
I need it,
Draft
man.
your tweets. It's a guarantee. It's Castlevania.
I need it,
I don't even know if Twitter will be around by the time it comes out.
Castlevania's coming. There is a 0% chance that Lords of Shadow 2 is the final Castlevania game.
What makes you say that?
Gut feeling.
Okay.
Gut feeling, vibes, optimism. Castlevania will
Unless someone
return.
gets the rights to Castlevania from Konami, or Konami like completely changes, I could easily see there never being another Castlevania.
But I could see Konami milking it and be like, oh, people like Castlevania, let's make some money.
Yeah, they make pachinko machines with it instead. They already did.
Hubert, do you think Bloodstain will fill the void in our hearts?
To an extent. It can be a great game, but it's still not Castlevania.
It's Igarashi.
Yeah, but it's like, it's still not Castlevania. There's no Belmonts. There might be Dracula. I don't know.
But
yeah, it'll scratch the itch in one way. But it's like Does the Evil Within 2 scratch my Resident Evil itch? Yeah, in a way, but it's still not the G virus or BOW.
But it's like,
it's still different.
With Castlevania stories, it's like the Belmont family fighting Dracula throughout history. And like, that's it. There's like the storylines connecting them together. There's like not really that much, dude.
Yeah.
There's like, you got Curse of Darkness being the prequel or the sequel to 3. And you got like 1 and you got 2 being connected kind of. And it's just like, the stories are pretty much basically boiling down to Dracula's here every 100 years. Let's kill his ass. And when Resident Evil, there's like the huge connecting story going along with it.
Totally.
Like in Dawn of Sorrow, there's like weird. I mean, there's connections. It's really weird, but it's like it's nowhere close, I think, to the amount of like story and depth that you see in like Resident Evil.
Going. Yeah.
That's why I feel like Bloodstain. I mean, it is Igarashi. That's like the guy doing that Castlevania. Like everyone freaks out about. Yeah. Everyone loves. So I feel like it could fill that void for me. Like there's gonna be a vampire in it. I bet. Yeah, there's gonna be a vampire in it. So I'm like, that's what I need from Castlevania.
Yeah.
I am realizing how much style plays into my love of Castlevania, and when I get hungry for Castlevania, it is that I want that whip. I want to fight a mummy. I want to see the Reaper. I want Dracula to open the cape and have fireballs come out. Like it is the way that it looks. I mean, of course, it's the way it feels, and the very good level design. Castlevania IV has incredible level design, but when I think when the excitement, what sends me over the top are those stylistic elements.
For sure, yeah. Oh yeah.
Just remember too,
I
there's
think Let's Think could hopefully do that.
There's that Netflix anime. We're gonna get a season 2 of
I
Castlevania.
gotta do that.
So
Somebody put a gun to my head.
You haven't seen that?
Somebody put a gun to my head. Put a gun to my head.
I will.
So Castlevania lives.
You got a week.
We're gonna get another.
fired.
Thank you.
Or you're fired.
Thank you.
Like to think that Castlevania will not rise again is.
I don't think as a game, like maybe like my hope is that Konami like somehow sees success with the anime. They're like, yeah, let's capitalize on that. That's what I'm hoping.
I mean, they made Metal Gear Survive. Like
that turned out great.
Say what you will about the game, they're still gonna dip into their franchises. Like Konami is just like we're Valve now. We're not making games.
I don't want them to dip. I want them to rise.
Exactly. Yeah.
No dipping, rising
Let
only.
me throw some names at you. Silent Hill, Contra, Rocket Knight Adventures. Okay, that's a little bit of a stretch, but
Big stretch.
big stretch. Castlevania.
Help us out, Konami.
I'm just saying.
Konami needs to be bought by like some jolly billionaire.
Sell the rights.
I realized that I took some things for granted. That these series mean a lot to me. I want them to rise again. I want them to be successful.
How annoying is it there hasn't been a collection of Castlevania games yet?
Like an ultimate collection.
Yes, how annoying is that?
That's annoying. E3,
Damn
let's
it.
go. Castlevania collection.
When you pre-order the Shenmue HD collection, you'll get the Castlevania.
Like, just give me all the Nintendo ones at least. Like, give me 1, 2, and 3. At least something, for God's sakes.
I think it's easy. We've been playing games for a long time. We get attached to things. It's easy to miss things, to long for things, to realize that you didn't appreciate them enough in their time. And one of those things that I hope is always around. I don't know if it's going to be because it's always scary. One of the things that I hope is always around, something that we haven't talked about yet on this podcast, is HOTTAKE! I want to mess around with HOTTAKE a lot. I want to try new things. Some things I'm going to like, some things I'm not going to like.
Okay.
This is a brand new thing that we've never tried on HOTTAKE before, much like last time. World premiere. We're gonna call it Sinking or Swimming.
Sinking or swimming.
And this was directly inspired by the panel. I knew Brad and Huber were going to be on, and we've talked about it already. It's come up multiple times on this podcast. Swimming in sevens.
Yeah, like 5 times already.
Yeah, it's come up a lot.
All of them are from Huber too.
We're going in even further, and what I want to do is we talk about the value of, you talk about that Rotten Tomatoes, and people won't see it unless it gets 90%, yada yada. And we talk about the value of something being deeply flawed but still enjoyable.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot. We preach that a lot. But I actually want to take us to task, and I'm going to look at games that Easy Allies has given 3.5 stars, roughly equivalent to a 7. And we're going to go and we're going to discuss
If we think.
if it's swimming or sinking, where when you hear the title and you think about what's in that game, you would actually want to swim in a pool with this game and revisit it and commit that time when time is so precious and there are so many games. But we're going to go a step farther. I've got some games from the game trailers era. As long as it got between a 7 and a 7.5, you're going to tell me if it's sinking or swimming. Now, some of these games you're not going to have experience with, and so you may not be able to answer. So we're going to have to be a little bit loosey-goosey. But as much as possible, I want you to tell me if you're sinking or swimming with these games. Now, we're going to start off with a heavy hitter for this HOTTAKE. A review that generated a little bit of controversy that I still haven't played, but that Michael Huber reviewed. Ratchet and Clank, 3.5 stars. Are we sinking or swimming with Ratchet?
We're swimming with this game.
Now, when we're swimming with it, that means you would go, you'd play it right now, you'd have a good time.
Oh my god, yeah. This game is amazing. The only reason that I did not score this game a little higher was because Ratchet and Clank is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Every single Ratchet and Clank, the mainline, I adore. The problem I had with this game was that from a long-time Ratchet and Clank fan to go back and to use 95% of the same weapons and go through a lot of the same environments, that took a lot away from me.
There's a huge dent.
That is a huge dent. Ratchet and Clank is built off going to crazy different worlds and finding insanely wacky weaponry. And this game used old weapons from the franchise. And that was the biggest thing. A Crack in Time to me is the best Ratchet and Clank game. It's the peak. It's the most fun to play and the most emotional. So you get both fronts. You get a really emotional adventure, the culmination of the franchise, if you will. And this game felt like a step back in a lot of ways. Obviously, the tech was a huge step forward. The act of playing this game is so enjoyable. You will have a smile on your face and a grin on your face, and you will have fun from very beginning to very end. But when you hold it up against the rest of the franchise, it felt like a step back.
I think that was a very good explanation. Yeah. I think that just about covered it.
Yeah.
What I liked about that is it almost sounds like you're saying Ratchet and Clank is kind of the epitome of a swimming in 7.
This one.
Yes.
Well,
this one.
It's so different, and that's why this review was so controversial, because if you've never played Ratchet and Clank ever,
you're going to have a great time.
This game is a 9.
Sure.
This is a 9 out of 10.
But I think fundamentally what you're saying is you have this very specific thing that is huge down against the game, but underneath all of that, you had a great time. It's not that there's not painful memories we're bringing up. About
so fun.
Brett, do you have any opinion on Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah, I've played
this one.
This one. Are
we swimming
7?
Or sinking?
We're swimming at 7, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 7, dude.
Okay.
That's fun.
The next one, I haven't played through that Ratchet and Clank, so I'm not gonna say one way or the other.
Dude, go back to it now, man.
Okay.
It's so fun. It was just on PS Plus in March, I think, right?
Yeah,
February or
something
March.
like that, yeah.
So a lot of people were going through, and it's jolly.
I've just been kind of in this going through retro games I didn't either fully finish or get around to.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. But
easy game to go through.
Yeah, I believe you.
Cozy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Next one we have on the list, I feel like I have a lot of opinions about, is Gears of War 4. Are we swimming or sinking?
We are sinking, dude. Are you dude? We haven't finished this yet.
You think Gears of War 4 is sinking?
I have gone through every single Gears of War except 4 with Brad. We got halfway through this game. Done.
We just kind of
so boring. So boring.
I don't know. The appeal that we had with the other one just kind of it fizzled out for us for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
There's nothing to latch on to.
So,
the fighting isn't fun.
I will say this. When I played through Gears of War 4, I had a great time. I thought it was a fun enough campaign, and the reason I say that is because there were moments that still stick out in my mind. You're at the Phoenix residence, and the locusts are coming in, and you're watching it get destroyed. I thought that was really cool. I think there are several really strong standout moments in Gears of War 4. I think the thing for me, and why I would also say sinking, is not because we at Easy Allies hate Microsoft. I think quite the opposite. But when it comes to revisiting it, right? I don't know that I would grab Gears of War 4 versus the other three.
Yeah, no.
Not counting Judgment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it above Judgment, but like,
Yeah.
I think I'd rather play through Gears of War 1 again.
Oh, of course.
I think I might want to play through Gears of War 2 again. I might pick it over Gears of War 3. I like Gears of War 3.
Do you get that beast mode?
Yeah.
Love that beast mode.
No, 3's good. I had a good time.
The beast mode? Is that in 4? I can't remember.
Dude.
I think it is.
Love beast mode.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. But speaking about the multiplayer, I didn't feel like there were enough changes.
No.
The multiplayer, and I'm not coming from like a huge, like, I know everything about Gears of War multiplayer. I'm just talking about a general feeling. Like, Gears of War 4 to me felt good, but like I kind of got what I wanted from it, and I will never return to it.
Yeah, you're like, okay.
But I think about Gears of War 1, like, I was playing that game for months and months and months, and the same was true of 2. I was playing that for months and months and
I
months.
was just talking to a friend about Gears of War 1 on an HD TV when it first came out.
Crazy.
One of the most mind-blowing things of all time growing up. Like, that was a moment. Gears of War on an HD TV. Because, like, not a lot of people had HD TVs
Oh,
at
it
the
looked
time.
incredible.
Well,
Gears of War was one of
Voxel.
those games you showed to somebody and you're like, I can't believe this
We went,
happened.
we went to a friend's house because I didn't have a 360, and my friend had the 360 with Gears of War on a big HD TV, and it was like, what?
Yeah,
Video games?
looks crazy.
What?
Right.
So cool.
I feel the same way about Halo 5, and it's a game that I gave a high score to at Game Trailers, but it didn't stick with me in the way that I thought maybe it would. Like
Another game I didn't finish, like going through it with you.
I finished it. I liked it.
Yeah, I had to go back
But-
and grind it out.
Unlike
I don't
Halo
know, I
1,
just
2,
wasn't feeling
3,
it.
or even Reach, I feel like I played a lot more of multiplayer-wise than I
Finding
did.
its identity again. You know, these franchises have changed hands. They are not
Yeah.
what they used to be.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to
you know,
happen.
They
It's
went
going to happen.
from that creative passion of a studio building something and then handing it off to someone to kind of keep it going. There's something lost there.
Right. You know, like, think about a year after God of War Ascension came out. You're like, this needs to find itself, and now
Yeah.
it is again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you do get I'm not saying that Gears of War won't ever come back and grab me and we won't be excited again.
Yeah.
I'm so hopeful for
I'm
another
just-
Gears of War.
I'm just
Yeah, me
saying
too.
we're in the sinking phase right now. Yeah.
Definitely any Gears of War news would excite me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, say what you will about how you feel about the last game, but
Do we all agree, though, that Gears of War 4 sinking 7?
sinking
Okay.
hard. Get those card packs, those loot boxes.
Another one that we gave.
Does
3.5
that game have
to.
loot boxes that give you cards? Is that
I can't remember.
like that's unprecedented? You open a loot box, you get some cards, right? You get those like jeep.
Doesn't
Is it card? Halo 5 has cards.
doesn't like Battlefront do that? You get like cards
Yeah, true.
from like a loot box.
Yeah. You
Open
do.
a loot pack.
You do.
Open a loot box. Get a card pack.
When
You
it-
open
what's
that
gonna be the
card
first game
pack.
where you open a box and you get another box? What's gonna be that first game where it's like you open a loot box to see the rarity of loot box that you get?
That's so funny.
That may have already happened. Another thing we have on here that I'm a little hesitant to comment on because the tiny bit that I did play I thought was really charming. Brett, I think you played more of it than I did. World of Final Fantasy.
I played a little more of it than you. I didn't
Sure.
play a lot of it either.
Are we sinking?
I mean, it
I
seemed okay.
abstain.
It seemed
I've
okay
never played
when
it.
I played
I've
it.
never played it.
I thought it was charming enough and the battle system was interesting enough with the stacking that I want to return to it. And I think that wanting to return to it is a big factor.
I liked what was there, but I think it came out like pretty close to 15.
Yeah.
And I was like, bye.
It came in at a bad time. Exactly with World of Final Fantasy, where like I would have people. I remember we had the Easy Allies meetup around PSX, and somebody came up and they're like, "Oh man, World of Final Fantasy is great. I like it more than 15." And I believe them, and I want to return to it. It just, I remember at the time World of Final Fantasy came out, it was like I gotta put this above it.
Yeah.
And so it got slotted out.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say swimming with it.
I'm going to say swimming for now.
Nice.
I liked what I played.
What's the Four Swords on GameCube?
Four Swords?
Four Swords Adventures. Yeah.
God, I love that game.
What brought that?
Yeah,
up?
what the hell?
Is that World of Final?
No, that's Zelda, dude.
Oh, I'm thinking of Crystal Chronicles.
You're thinking of Crystal Chronicles,
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I just trying to follow the
Sorry.
train of thought. there.
Yeah, sorry.
What?
We're gonna skip over some of these, depending on where we're at with time. We might come back. But what I do want to do is arms.
Oh.
Are we sinking or swimming?
Dude,
I'm sinking, dude.
I'm sinking. That's not. I just don't really have a lot of interest in that game. Like, I could be fine with never playing it.
It's tough because they keep doing stuff with arms. They add new characters.
Right.
They're keeping it up, much like they did with Splatoon. But I just don't have any desire to play it.
Because you'd rather play Splatoon, right?
I would rather play Splatoon. I would rather play like another Nintendo game or like another fighting game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a competitive space right now. And I think for this type of game, when you are so multiplayer focused, I think the sinking or swimming question is, do I want to play you over all the other multiplayer games? The answer is no.
Isn't that a depressing and brutal feeling?
It is a
Yes.
Where
depressing
you
brutal feeling.
have to let things go.
You have to, especially with multiplayer games. Especially with multiplayer games.
Where you have to pick. You have to
to
make
pick.
Sophie's choice.
And so I think I like ARMS, but I think it's especially brutal against ARMS because it is multiplayer focused. Another one that we have a 3.5 to, and I was actually surprised. This was higher than I was expecting. Lawbreakers.
Oh, yeah.
Is that game still alive?
I'm going to say, no, that game is sunk to the bottom of the ocean floor.
I don't know how we could walk away
It's
from
dead.
this and say
It's
that
dead.
it's not.
It
it's
was
not sinking.
fun for what I played it there. I liked
Yeah.
it. I thought mechanically it was fun, but it just didn't have enough to set it over like that edge. I was like, okay, what's here is solid right now.
Yeah.
But then I just got like way over it, and so did everybody else. Like everybody.
Yeah, that game.
Like I remember a week after that game came out, me just looking at the score or like how many people were playing. I'm just like, dude, this.
The way that you're talking,
So
I feel like this is
depressing.
a level beyond sinking.
I told you this is on the floor. This is
sunk.
the ocean
yeah,
floor.
This game was DOA. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
how-
had fun playing it. I thought some of the stuff was like solid. I was like, oh, this is cool. You can have fun here doing this kind of thing. We're just like,
which is so sad
After a
because I
while,
know
it's just
there's
kinda-
someone out there, there's some human being who all they wanted was another like Unreal Tournament style game, and they got this, and they were like, yes, this is the best.
yeah.
And this game just
Yeah.
died,
But then like
you know?
I mean,
Quake
but-
came back and like people were playing that and stuff instead of that.
I think about the rise of Fortnite. This is something we talked about before. I'm not going to make this a huge, big thing, but I think the reason Fortnite is doing so well is because it's just a better game than PUBG. It's
I think it's just more appealing too.
it's more appealing. They're updating it more. It feels fresher, more consistently than PUBG
They
does.
take
It doesn't
chances.
feel like such of a mess the way that PUBG does. Technically, a lot of times, it just feels like they're making a lot of decisions that PUBG isn't making in terms of communication, in terms of updates. And I think the point I'm trying to make here is when you're competing in this space that we all agree is so competitive, like you got to be the best or wildly different enough that comparison doesn't affect you that much. And I just don't think Lawbreakers fits that.
Correct.
Yakuza Kiwami.
Who
Swimming.
scored this?
I
Swimming.
scored it. I scored it.
What did you score
I scored it
this?
3.5.
Whoa.
I'm
Yeah.
swimming. I'm swimming.
Swimming, dude.
Swimming
Swimming.
indeed.
I'm swimming in it. I'm getting out of the pool, offended that it's in the pool.
So here's the thing. It's a tough thing when it comes to scoring. I definitely agree that this is swimming. I think it's a strong 3.5.
Yeah.
I gave Yakuza 0 a 4 out of
okay.
5.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
I stand by that. I think Yakuza 0 is a great game. Obviously, we've talked about it to death. But there were like serious problems that I had with some of the pacing of it, as well as the combat really wearing thin. I think Kiwami is definitely a worse game than 0.
Yeah.
And so I think its closeness to 0 also affected my opinion of it.
Totally.
Doesn't mean it's bad. I think people should play Kiwami.
Yeah.
I especially think Majima Everywhere is a cool system. We're swimming.
We're swimming.
No
Oh,
hard
yeah.
feelings.
I'm like,
Yeah, I got a fun noodle in the pool.
yeah, I'm floating in an inner tube in this
Yeah.
pool. Like,
We're having fun.
Yeah, we're having fun. We're barbecuing.
Yakuza Kiwami so far is the most swimming.
Yeah.
Yakuza pool party.
Yeah, Yakuza pool bar. Yeah.
Next
Kidding you.
game, Knack 2.
Oh, dude.
Swimming, man.
I never need to play this, dude.
I'm swimming.
You're swimming in
Knack
that
2
I'm
is
gonna say sinking, man.
Dude, Knack 2 was a great time.
I don't ever want. Yes, it was a great time. I don't ever want to play it again. I don't want to revisit
I
it.
don't. I
You're
never.
gonna tell me is Michael Huber really gonna sit down
No.
with Knack 2 and
Unless
come
they
back to
did
it?
some insane story beats with Knack 3, like they announced something with Knack 3, and I was like, all right, I'm going back. Like, prepare for Knack 3.
That game is long.
Yeah, it is.
It's a long game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I go back.
So are you willing to comment sinking on Knack 2.
This is a tough one.
It's a tough one.
I'm not sinking or swimming. What am I? What am I doing if I'm not doing either?
You're treading water.
Yeah, I'm treading water.
Treading
Can I
water on
tread water? Yeah. It's a hard one. Because I still look back fondly at it.
Yeah.
And I would recommend it. Honestly, I think Knack 2 is a solid game. Jolly.
That's kind of swimming.
Good co-op game.
That's doggy paddling.
You know, if you have a roommate or something, this is a good game to go through together. Knack 2.
Yeah.
So...
I think
But would I ever play it
fair
again?
things.
Would I ever play it again? No.
Right.
So it's a tough one.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Swimming 7, baby.
Swimming.
Swimming at 7.
Swimming. If you like Assassin's Creed at all,
Man, see, I feel like I played like 5, 6, 7, somewhere around it, and then I went to the preview event, and that was like 3 hours. And I was like, okay, I'm good. Like,
Yeah, you're sinking. You're sinking.
You're
I get
sinking.
it. I get it.
Your enthusiasm for it is making me doubt myself.
really
Dude,
like
my
it.
enthusiasm for it is a 7 of enthusiasm.
I really
it's
like
a
it.
7. It's
I
like the
like
swimming in
sevens.
7 range. Yeah, I like 7s too. That's just what it is, man, to me.
It is a very, very big game.
Yes.
So if you even have anything else you want to be doing at all, like this game will annoy you because it is so big. You know, this is a game that like you should only play if you love Assassin's Creed or if you have nothing better to do, because then you will enjoy it. So like that sounds harsher than it is. Basically, it's just such a big time commitment that like you really got to give yourself to Assassin's Creed Origins. You know, you got to hand yourself over.
Yeah, you got to surrender yourself.
You got to be like, yo, for the next like 2 weeks, like I'm just playing Assassin's
Who
Creed
can do
Origins.
that?
Exactly.
I've got
exactly.
some semblance of a life.
Well, a lot of people probably can do it.
Yeah.
We're very like rare cases in that sense.
It's tough. Like
But the big thing for me, and I want to get your opinion on both of you. I want to get your opinion on this.
Yeah.
I thought the combat was not good. I did not think
It's
the
like
Mash it out.
It's decent. I think I looked positively on it because it's better than the old ones.
it's
I
an
thought.
improvement
I
on
thought
the
it was an
franchise.
improvement. Yeah. Especially, dude, where I was so tired of that BS just waiting to counter everything,
Sure,
dude.
I'm not saying it was great in the past. I'm just saying for such a big revamp and overhaul, it really left me wanting.
Yeah. Excited for the next one.
Yeah.
Really
Okay.
excited.
All right.
Really, really excited. Also,
I'm gonna give it another chance.
you bring up, you know, you put Origins in the title. Your franchise has been around for 10 years. You talk about treading water. I feel like that's what this story has been doing for the better half of a decade. Like, let's go.
Oh my God,
Give us
yeah.
some answers. Let's get this thing back on track and let's put it all together.
Let's just end it.
Like, it's time. It's way past time. And when
it-
you promise that your game is called Origins, like, there was really nothing to do with the grand scheme of Assassin's Creed. There was one extremely important piece of information regarding, like, the Animus. One huge piece of information, and that was it.
Ubisoft doesn't care. They're gonna keep stringing this out.
I
as
know,
long as
they can
can
just
make a
just
buck.
reboot it, man. Just reboot it.
That's why I love Watch Dogs.
Get rid of the Animus. It sucks.
Just give me that Watch Dogs 3. Watch Dogs. Dude, Watch Dogs 2, guys. Don't skip it.
You know,
Once you're right, I don't skip
you're right.
on it.
You know, the
Skip
time that I would spend in
Watch
Assassin's Creed
Dogs
Origins,
2.
I'm gonna spend in Watch Dogs 2.
Yes.
Instead.
1
Just play it.
million%.
There we go.
yes.
I
yeah,
like
just
this.
play that, man.
Yes.
I think you
Okay.
gave enough attention to Assassin's Creed.
You're right. I'm gonna burn it. Okay.
It's sinking for Ben.
Sinking for Ben,
And
swimming
burning.
for these two.
It's swimming
no.
and
burning.
You're right though. Watch Dogs 2, and there's two games like from kind of around that time that I need to get back to. Watch Dogs 2, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Gotta make that happen.
Done.
Gotta make that happen.
There you go.
Perfect.
All right. It's getting me pumped up. Transformers Devastation, go into the game trailers.
Dude,
era.
Swimming.
I still want to play this. I have it.
Women, baby.
I haven't played it yet.
Why are we swimming, Huber?
This is a feel-good game. This is a game that 1 year from now, 10 years from now, you could boot up on a system, say, hey, come play this. You're going to have a good time. You're going to have a solid time. I respect it.
I want to play it.
Especially with where like the Transformers franchise is in the world with the movies and stuff. This was a cool take on the
Yeah,
franchise.
it was like going to the old
cel-shaded
school
looking. Yeah.
The animated series. Yeah.
Cool game.
I got distracted. There were 2 timestamps that I forgot to write down.
all good.
And
We're
it just-
swimming.
Just
We're
makes
swimming,
my life
Ben.
harder. We're swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew Transformers Devastation was going to be a swimming. Let's see
Yeah.
if I can pull one that might be a little bit more difficult. Resident Evil 0 HD.
Ooh, 0. Okay. I beat that game twice. Kinda swimming. Kinda like I had fun going through the first time, I guess.
You know, the tread in the water was cute, but we're here to make calls. Are we sinking or swimming?
Dude, okay. I'm just gonna say I'm swimming. I'm swimming.
Why are we swimming?
I got problems with this game, but I still think it's fun.
What's fun about it?
Dude, it's like the classic tank control RE. Those are like my favorite RE games. Got some spooky mansion stuff in this. Yeah, moving items around is annoying, but I still have fun playing this game. 7 is a game with problems, but we can still have fun with, damn it. And I still had a good time playing this game. Fighting a damn scorpion on a train, yeah, that's weird and fun.
I remember the train being my favorite part.
Yeah.
I remember hating managing inventory.
Yeah, but it's like...
the worst inventory management.
It's the worst in the
ever.
series, but it's not like... It doesn't ruin the game for me. Like, yeah, it's annoying, but it doesn't ruin it for me.
I respect it. I respect you. Brad's swimming. He's having
Shouldn't
a grand
have
old
giant
time.
bat, dude. Whatever.
He's having a good
I'm
time.
down.
Hubert can't tell.
Excluding Resident Evil 6, this is my least favorite
Of the main ones.
of the
Yeah,
main lines.
of course.
This game has a lot of problems. The story is so weird. Like,
What was the point of it?
why does Rebecca not acknowledge anything then in Resident Evil 1? I guess she's keeping Billy's secret. Who knows? I'm sinking, dude.
He's
Inventory
out.
management in this game just ruins it. Unless you are a locked-in speedrunner that knows exactly what you need when you need it, this game is a slog of going back and forth and dropping and taking items. Yeah. I'm sorry, Resident Evil.
So I played.
I'm officially the Resident Evil guy now.
I finished like almost all of the Resident Evil games of the main line.
Yeah.
I played Resident Evil 0 when it came out. I got however many hours into it, got bored and stopped, and didn't even feel that bad about it.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
It's fine,
It's
baby.
filler.
I'm
It's
swimming
filler.
by myself
It's okay,
in this pool.
but because of that, I'm going to refrain from making the call.
It should be classified as a spin-off. It really, prequel. It's a prequel. Like,
Yeah.
prequels aren't always mainline. Like, I would call this a spin-off, honestly.
We got one
That's a hot
swimming, we got
take.
one sinking.
Yeah.
Last game that we're going to do in the Game Trails era. Another infamous one. Good one to end on. 7.4, Alien Isolation.
Get the footage, John.
Get the footage. Favorite episode of Huber Hype of all time.
I just
Came at my coworker's expense.
Yeah. I just want to talk about this really quick. So I reviewed Alien Isolation. I gave it a 7.4. And then we had a Just Played where it was myself, Brandon Jones, and Ian Hink talking about it. And we said some negative things on it.
Brutal things.
Well, you want to talk about brutal?
Yeah.
The story's not done. Huber does a Huber Hype. And Dunn edits it, and it's like black and white footage, taking things like just statements, pulling them out of the Just Play that we
outlandish
shot.
statements. Like,
And you were like, look at these fools.
so funny. Oh,
No, it's very funny.
My brother, for whatever reason, dude, this just happened. My brother, like, Alien Covenant came on HBO Go or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So my brother was like going back and watching Aliens. And it was like, and then he was like searching it in YouTube and whatever. And that episode came up in his recommended.
Nice.
And we were talking about it. He was like, yo, putting your friends on blast. And,
It was aggressive.
Alien Isolation. Like,
Yeah, it's very aggressive.
so funny.
Alien Isolation is a game. I actually think 7.4 is a little bit too low, but I think I would still keep it in the 7 range.
Really?
Yeah.
Even now, really?
Even now, well, I think, but there's so much good in Alien Isolation. There's so much good.
Yeah.
And so I think it's definitely a swimming. I think people should play this game.
Yeah.
But my biggest complaint about Alien Isolation still stands for me, and here's what it is. The beginning of that game, the whole central premise of the game of you being relatively powerless against this alien, but it's a very intimate one-on-one thing. I love that. And the early middle sections of that game nail it so hard. As you creep up on the end, and it's a long game, you get involved in a lot more combat, a lot more forced encounters that sort of take away this really special thing that this game was doing. I understand that they have to mix it up, but it felt like it put its foot on the gas so much there. And there were things that it did at the end that I really didn't care for. And it's to say that I was playing a completely different game is not accurate, but it felt so
felt like
different.
they made the sequel and put it
Yeah,
in the
kind of. And I think that really took a lot away. I wish there was more of that sensation, that fear that I felt at the beginning of just fearing one thing. I liked.
I wonder if they made the game half as long if we'd be getting
so.
if we'd be getting an Alien Isolation 2 now, or if we'd have had one.
I think if the game was like half as long, I think it would have been a better game. I do. But I still think it's swimming. I still really want another one.
Swimming hard.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you disagree with what I was saying there?
No, I think criticisms of the game are fair. Totally. You know, I think of Evil Within and me scoring that game really high, and that's partly for me, but it's also I do back it up. You know, I do say those are great games, like Evil Within 1 and 2.
Evil Within 1 and 2 are great.
Yeah, but I can see the criticisms of Alien Isolation, the having to find save spots and the androids and the melee combat and kind of where the end goes. Like, I see all those criticisms and I do accept them. But if you're looking for some tension, the beginning hours of that game.
I mean, even if you're
So
just
intense.
an Alien fan, the way that they represent that style, like, it's untouchable.
Yeah.
It really is. It's amazing.
Love it. A game that you want to settle into.
Opinions, Brad?
Let it wrap around you like a face hugger.
I really don't care about playing this game. So does that make us sinking for me then, I guess?
But there's a lot of things that I love about all the allies, but the, like, sharp indifference from Brad, it comes at just the right moment sometimes. I don't really care.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't care about playing it. Like, I never need to play this game. I'm fine.
I think it's a masterpiece. I really do. I really, really do.
Masterpiece.
Yeah, I think it's one of the greatest games like ever made.
Bring it to the Hall of Greats.
That is where my level of love is for Alien Isolation.
I will say, and I think it's an important part of the sink and swim. And we need to refine this a little bit, but I like the conversation brought forth. Anyway, I want to play it again. I want to go back through it again. I do.
I think it marries old school and modern game design expertly. You know, it has things I love about old games, like having to find the save spots, and it also has like modern game design, easier stuff of like, you know, crafting and saving and whatever.
Do we have to start a petition to get another one? Is that what we have to do?
Dude, Creative Assembly, man, they said it's not gonna happen. It's pretty depressing. That's my E3 dream now. Like, that's the one.
$50,000 Patreon. Kidding. We ready for some emails?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Last segment of the show. If you want to send in an email to have us talk about, the email address is askeasyallies@gmail.com. First one comes in from Andrew. It's a short one. Hey, allies. The opening battle of God of War 3 against Poseidon is a moment that every gamer should experience. What are some other moments that you think everyone else should get?
God of War 2, the opening battle versus the Colossus of Rhodes.
Are there non-God of War moments?
God of War 1, the battle against the Hydra.
Yeah. I think everybody should experience the beginning of Resident Evil 4.
Yes.
I think everyone should.
That village, yeah. The demo, again, was that village. I always bring up the Resident Evil 4 demo.
Yeah.
Played that village demo 55 times. Like, so great.
Can you count an entire game as that defeats the purpose? Because I was going to say, like, Asura's Wrath, Deadly Premonition. Got one. The end of Dragon's Dogma. Everyone should experience that. One of the greatest what the fuck moments in games for me. Oh, man.
I think everyone should play the first Colossi in Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes, I agree. That's a good pick, Brad.
I think everyone should play the first 30 minutes of The Last of Us.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. What else?
I think everyone should take a tour of the Spencer Mansion. Take a tour.
How do you take a tour? How do you do that?
Just walk around. Every single person that plays video games should have to walk around the Spencer Mansion.
Okay.
If you make it out or you don't, it doesn't matter.
You just got to get in the door.
Just get in the door, take a look around.
Feel
That's
the
it.
atmosphere.
I think everyone should experience the time skip moment in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think everyone should experience Psycho Mantis.
Psycho Mantis, dude. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man.
I think everyone should gank somebody in World of Warcraft.
Yeah. I think everyone should play around a Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to throw a Hadouken. You need to throw one out.
Yep. You throw a Hadouken out.
You need to
I
throw
agree.
one out.
Yep.
That's a good way to do that, Brad.
Throw it out. I think everyone should play a match of Counter-Strike.
Sure.
1.6. Just a match.
I wonder if you
Real
gave
fast.
100 people Counter-Strike who had never played it, and the only question you asked them after they played the match, did you enjoy this? Like what the
Yeah.
response would be.
I think it'd be
Where
more
were the-
positive.
Where
than
were the
negative.
guns? Push B. 1.
Buy your guns.
Buy your guns.
Economy.
Economy.
CS.
4.
Man,
3.
why am I struggling to think of moments? So many.
Because we don't want to give away the obvious ones. So many.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7.
Bombing mission?
Bombing mission and so hype.
Yeah, I think that is a moment. I think specifically
So
the bombing
hype.
mission.
Just anything
like
from,
even
just
more
play
than,
that
than
part.
Eris.
anything
and-
from like a Mario game, dude.
Yeah,
like,
everyone
play a level.
should
Just
collect.
play a level.
Everyone
No.
should collect a 1-up.
I think
in
everybody should
Mario.
see the end of Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think everyone should play every Mario game. You have to play them all.
Now we're getting
Every
too,
mainline
we're getting too
game.
loose.
Yeah.
1, 2,
Yeah.
3, World, 64,
getting
Galaxy,
too loose.
Galaxy 2. You gotta
Forgot
play them all,
Sunshine.
baby.
Forgot Sunshine.
Sunshine. Gotta play them all.
Sunshine is so good.
Yeah, it was great. Easy Living was so fun with that.
All right. Next question comes in from Brandon. He says, "Hello, everyone. Recently, Quantic Dream released 3 30-second trailers about each of the 3 androids players would control and Detroit. And in the PlayStation blog, it was discussed how each character has music from a different composer to provide a specific mood.
That's so cool.
So I was curious, what games, Journey for example, utilize music to provide storytelling, mood setting, or a key aspect of a game that primarily is not in the genre with Guitar Hero and Rock Band that stuck out to you? What moments were more memorable because there was music, whether it be a crucial story plot or just randomly playing in the game's world? Once more, thank you again for taking my email, and as always, stay easy." Thank you, Brandon. That's a great question.
The music in Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh,
Is,
absolutely.
like, super effective.
Yes. I was thinking of Snake Eater, the giant ladder is
Sure,
a
yeah.
good moment that comes to mind.
Snake Eater.
But other
I
moments,
think of The Last of Us when brutal moments go down, or like its use of not only silence for certain moments, but the way it just holds notes, or when brutal moments go down and it just kind of is there in the background. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't finished The Last of Us, but there's a couple key moments in that game that something goes down and just the little bit of music that's playing is emotional.
I think the way Breath of the Wild utilizes music, I love
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Those little,
Yep.
depending on what you're fighting. And
Red Dead Redemption 1.
yeah.
Gotta bring that up. Always. Riding back. What a moment.
There's a moment that I feel like is swirling in the back of my mind that I'm going to kick myself over. Oh, specifically the opera scene in Final Fantasy VI. The way that they used that style of music in that moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I also like, we just finished God of War 2. I love the way that, it's such a loud game. It's such a big game. It's there's always some chaos going on or some crazy orchestra, but it does really, really save that classic God of War theme for that. It swells up to the climax. It's like you're so near the end and that song kicks in. Like, love that.
Yeah, it reminds me of like One Winged Angel. when he fights Sephiroth. It's just like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, like we're getting there.
You got like chorus in the song, like in the game. Like there's like no chorus in that entire game until you get to that fight. Just like, what? This is like nothing I've heard in the entire game.
It's so nuts. Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega.
It's coming out.
What?
WrestleMania.
Oh, it's not coming out of WrestleMania.
Our last email comes in from Jared. He says, "Hello, gents. I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to ask you all about the Rotten Tomato effect and if you believe the principle applies to games as well as movies/TV. So I admit I become sort of a snob when it comes to movies in recent years. With very few exceptions, if a movie is very low or rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, I just automatically seem to write it off.
There it is.
This can happen even for movies I was previously anticipating. It may even have a director or actor I really like. But this type of reaction taints it so much where I feel like I've already written it off. I just decide it's not worth my time. My question is, do you think this applies to games as well in the form of places like Metacritic? And is it fair to cast judgment so quickly? Is this ultimately holding people back from trying and experiencing more games? I love how Hubert constantly brings up his swimming in sevens concept. I think it would actually be a fantastic monthly series for you guys. I fear that too many people overlook these kinds of games that might not review super favorably in mainstream outlets and then can't even find success because of it. I'm not saying bad games don't deserve bad reviews, but even being a mediocre to average 6 or 7 out of 10 game can seem a death warrant in today's landscape. What do you guys think? Thank you, Jared. Here's what I want to say.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brad.
No.
You felt like you were just about to say something.
No, I'm with Huber on this. Yeah.
So I think this used to be a lot more of a problem in games specifically than it is right now. My argument for that is I don't think reviews hold as much weight as they used to. I think
for video games.
For video games. Yes. For movies, I agree with everything that's being said in this email. But for video games, here's what I don't think is a problem. I think for so many people, and I see it, and I do it myself, that's why I know, is I'll glance at reviews, but in addition to my like, hey, I'm deciding to play this phase, I will go to streams. We're in a place now where you can see so much of the games from people that you trust that almost feels more valuable than somebody's interpretation in a short video or script with a score attached to it, where you can really see as much as you want to. And so I think that's true for a lot of people. I think there are games that have done well in spite of negative reviews because of how successful they've been on places like Twitch.
And it's easier to find something to latch onto in a video game versus a movie. If the movie has a story that you just don't care about, that's the movie you're watching. You're watching a movie about this story, whereas video games have so many mechanics or little things that you can latch onto. It's like, stories aren't that great, but I sure loved hitting things with my hammer.
Far Cry 5.
Yeah, Far Cry 5.
Yeah, exactly. And this is going to be a weird thing to say, and bear with me here, I feel like for myself, taking a chance on a movie almost seems like more of a commitment. Now, obviously, it's nowhere near as expensive, but in order to go see a movie in the theaters, I gotta get in my car, I gotta go, I gotta get the tickets, I gotta deal with other people, I gotta, wait in line. If I want to play a game, like, it might be $60, but I can just download that thing and hop in, obviously, I'm very privileged to have, like, high-speed internet and all of that. I understand I'm coming from a very privileged place, but because of that flexibility, I feel more incentivized to try out stuff. I feel like when it comes to games. And a lot of these things are free. So I don't know. But I don't want to undermine the point, though. I think Metacritic is still a big deal.
Yeah, and it's like Rotten Tomatoes. There are so many different metrics and so many different ways people review movies, and that number is just so weird. It's like a movie can have 100% or a movie can have a 90% or something, and like certain people think it's the worst movie I've ever made, but then these people think that it's just average, but then it gets 90% because they gave it a favorable review. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so weird. It's like a movie can have a really low score, but a lot of people were like, oh, it's okay. But a movie can have a high score, and people were saying the same thing because it's what's fresh. If you have a 5-point scale and you give it a 3 stars, your movie is fresh.
Right.
It's just the way they categorize all this.
Yeah, the reviews.
It's tough. So Just see Pacific Rim Uprising. That's all I gotta say.
See Pacific Rim Uprising. Watch Castlevania on Netflix. Brad, does Metacritic influence how you consume games?
Nope, not at all. Don't ever look at it.
Metacritic is...
All right, that's going to
But
do it
Rotten
for me.
Tomatoes is like everywhere. It's unavoidable.
I mean,
I don't even want to know the Rotten Tomatoes score, but I see it everywhere.
They're putting it on movies.
You know? They put it on the poster. They put it in the commercial. They put it on the trailer. They put it on the internet. They put it... It finds its way to you, whereas Metacritic and OpenCritic, you kind of have to seek that out.
Yeah, it's not as prevalent with games.
Yeah.
For sure. It's crazy. You're on Rotten Tomatoes, by the way. Michael Huber. You're certified fresh. You're good. But yeah, you're on there too. It's everywhere. We're not on there yet.
Yeah, I feel like I have such a better grasp at like knowing what a game's gonna be usually before I play it. So like I never really need to look at a Metacritic, especially because we were like so there all the time. Like with a movie, it's like
I can kind of do that.
There's
with
the
movies
movie
too. I kind of know. You know, you're.
Well, I think
you make it up in
you're-
your brain of like what you think it's gonna be, and
I mean, I'm definitely more submersed in games than I am with movies. I feel like I have a better sense of what a game is going to be than a movie's going to be, just because that's what I'm more involved in and spend more time with. You are a little bit different. You spend a ton of time with games, obviously, but you're more into movies than I am.
yeah, like who's directing it, who wrote it, who's.
What's really frustrating me with movies, and it happens with games, but I feel like because games are longer and there's more stuff in them, it's less of a big deal. I hate watching trailers, and it's like, there's no point in seeing the movie now. I know all the twists.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it makes me not want to watch the trailers, which means I have more of a dependence on something like Rotten Tomatoes, and that's really frustrating too.
Yeah, and then Pacific Uprising makes a not good-looking trailer.
Yeah.
And you have your narrative and what you think the movie's going to be. No, Guillermo's gone. There's nobody from really the first movie. Like, where's Charlie Hunnam? It's tough.
I like those emails a lot. Got some good responses in from us. Again, if you'd like to send an email to have us talk about it, it's askeasyallies@gmail.com. 2 hours and 40 minutes. A little shorter than normal.
Brisk.
But I liked the conversations. I hope you all enjoyed the conversations. Thank you so much, panel. Bradley Ellis right next to me, Michael Huber at the end. I hope both of you had a good time.
Oh yeah, always.
If you want to support us, if you're thinking about potentially getting, thank you. Brad saved my life.
Going down.
Table's going down.
It's sinking.
We've been hitting it. I think.
I hit this thing all the time.
Yeah, we got to stop doing that. Patreon.com/easyallies if you want to support the show. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.